Hey everyone, my name is Raven, and I'm gonna have a rave. I'm gonna talk about a few things, a bit of philosophy, I guess. Not that I even know what that term means, but more my perspective, on reality and the way it is, in the way we can see it or we can choose to. So fundamentally, let's just start with when it's the death of the day, it's the birth of the night. And when it's the death of the night, it's the birth of the day. So from how I perceive things, when we die out of life, we get born into love. And when we die out of love, we get born back into life. And here we are in life. And I feel like the challenge in life, kind of the reason for us to be here, is to learn how to love. And that's a complex but simple thing, and that's what I'm going to talk about today or tonight or whatever time in space that you're listening or watching or hearing what I'm saying. And so love is attention, it's focus. There is only love or ignorance of love, which is fear, and some people subscribe to fear, some to love. Now, ignorance of love is basically just all the things we see in the world that aren't justified. They're things that are coming from a space of ignorance. Love is attention. Anything you focus on, anything you give attention to is love. Anything you love, you give energy to, and it grows. And what I want to talk about is encouraging humans to love their own soul. But to do that, you kind of got to understand what the soul is and the levels of the soul. It's not as simple as just like, hey, I love my soul. It's like you got to take responsibility for your physical body, your emotional body, your mental body, and your spiritual body. They're the four fundamental bodies, and then your etheric body. And then you are starting to begin to take responsibility for your soul, which is not just physical, emotional, mental, or spiritual, or etheric. It's all of those levels. Taking responsibility means basically doing physical exercise, like, not all the time, just enough to look after yourself and stay in your comfort zone. Don't push yourself. Just focus on breathing, stretching, do whatever's good, whatever's comfortable. Look after your emotional body, music or art or anything that makes you feel. Do that, explore that. Look after your mental body. Your mental body is like your mind. You can only think in the moment. You think about the future, but you can never think in the future. And you can think about the past, but you can never think in the past. Thinking and thoughts in the mental body exist in the here and the now only. So learn about everything. There's so much to learn in this world, and information is currently very available. Spiritual body, it's the air we breathe. It's a respiration system. It's the air we breathe is the life that we all share. The spirit that we all share is air. It's the thing that we all need, And going back to the physical body, that's like you're connected to your skeletal system. Your emotional body is connected to your circulation system. Your mental body is your digestive system. Your spiritual body, your respiration system, and your etheric body is your nervous system. And your soul, well, that's pretty obvious. That's in your brain. And that soul, it's made up of yin and yang, light and dark, good and evil. Like fundamentally inside all of us, there is an angel and a demon. Whoa. And you got to learn to find balance within the two, the light and the dark, the good and the bad, the yin and the yang. it's all about harmony and balance. And that balance is achievable if we seek it. You've got to search for that balance, find it. Like, Michael Hutchins said, the devil inside. We all have one, but we also all have an angel, like a divine light that is the true life that we are, a God force, like a Christ force or a Buddha force or some sort of, was it the force? Like Yoda. Yeah, Yoda. He was right. He kind of knew what it was about. That's the sort of the essence of what we can channel within ourselves. Is like in the moment we have the ability to channel the force, that flow, and to find the center within our soul and take responsibility for all of our bodies, physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual, and our etheric body. And from that space of responsibility, love and nurturing and care, we can then have like a lot more sort of kind of compassion for each other, realizing that we all are souls, we all are suns, stars within this being. That's the divine light within, is the star in you. And that star is one amongst many, many stars. So once you achieve that soul love, you can realize that you're just one soul in amongst a galaxy of souls, which is your family, which is infinite love or galactic love. And once you achieve galactic love, you can kind of go, well, okay, I love all the souls around me, and we're all just families together in this universe. One verse, one song, whole bunch of galaxies. And universal love, that's eternal love. And it is achievable and reachable. It's a thing. It's a real thing. So is galactic love, but we won't get to either of those two levels of love unless we first achieve and sustain soul love. Because then when we go into soul love, we refrain from judging others. We look at ourselves and we see that we're all the same. We're all on the same quest, and we're all like searching and learning. And you can either learn now or learn later, but you either learn or lesson. Learning is earning, and lessoning is, well, Groundhog Day. Basically, you'll get it over and over until you get it. So I'm always personally trying to learn, but I'm not necessarily that great at it, but I'm doing my best. But I definitely encourage everyone to learn, because it's earning, and learning is just focusing on love and choosing to love your own soul. And when you do that, then it's easier to love others. So blessings to all. Let's try and love some more. There's a whole lot more, but that's enough for now. Can you find the mystery deep inside reality? Or will you bring it here for all to see? Paint a picture inside your mind, inside your dreams. You will find the time has come to be divine. The time has come to shine. Here we are at the end of an age. And this may be the final page. Play the game called loving life. Never too late, be the light. Magic is you, it lives inside your mind. Here we are in the now. We are here to find out how many ways we're all from one. We're here together to get along. Play the game called loving life. Never too late to be the light. Magic is you. It lives inside your mind. The place you'll find. Hey everyone. Tonight I've decided to share my journey, and I guess to explain it best I have to start from the beginning. And when I say my journey, I'm actually specifically talking about my journey with shamanism. Now, shamanism is a path that I would not suggest or prescribe really for anyone. I think some shamanic practices are healthy and can be good for you to experience on your soul's journey. But shamanism, I think, at least in my experience, it chose me. So I'm going to start from the beginning. When I was probably, I'd say, about 5 years old, some of my first memories in Yamundi was collecting magic mushrooms with my mother. And I remember specifically where. I still pass that field sometimes. It's not really a field anymore, but it was. And then when I was about 6, I went to a party with my mum and their friends, and they had a big mushroom punch, and I took a good dose of it, and that was my first psychedelic experience. Then years later, I began my real journey, which was when I was about 16. I was going to I call it military school, but it was just really a school where we had to do cadets and wear kilts and straw hats. It was kind of cool, challenging, because I'd come from a different world. Oh, the suits and ties as well. That was funny. My favorite part of that school was rock climbing. I got into rock climbing, and also all the guys there, they were really cool too. But at that school at that time, I went up to Byron Bay on my holidays, and I remember when I was about 16, one of the local boys pointed out a magic mushroom to me, and I was like, oh, cool, all right. And I remember sitting down next to the mushroom and talking to it, and then eating it, and then that began my journey, my sort of shamanic journey, which I didn't realise would continue as long as it has. But basically I asked the question, and that set me on the quest. And the quest was, who am I, what am I, and what the fuck is going on here? It was a bunch of questions, and I kept asking those questions and exploring. But in my sort of experience of the shamanic realms, it's very hard to describe a lot of the experiences. In fact, so many of them are just far beyond words. But what I have discovered in my later life is that so much of the information that I did discover in my shamanic journeys is relative, because all the knowledge that I have about the universe, the cosmos, magic, life, love, and everything comes from my shamanic experiences, which at first and for a long time I was wondering, what the fuck, is this even real, And then later on in life, I started researching and reading books and watching videos and finding out what shamans have known for centuries and what's written in mystical stuff all over the place, and it's in religions, and it's basically the oldest sort of religion, really. It goes back to probably from when the dinosaurs first ate mushrooms out of their shit, But shamanic practice and culture, now that I've researched it, is very, very old, and it is in the ancestry of all of our cultures, really, But for me, in my experience in this modern world, it's basically been a journey of sort of self-discovery, transformation, accessing wisdom, reading from what people call like the Akashic records or the universal subconscious, and trying to piece together the puzzle of this existence. And for me, it's been an interesting journey, and it is definitely one that I feel like sort of qualifies as sort of a path, because really in reality, any path you follow, you can find a way to like live your life, and like I said, I didn't really choose shamanism, it kind of chose me, but I definitely was comfortable on the journey, and it seemed natural and normal to go down that path and discover what I have. And yeah, so I'm going to start sharing it more now. I've decided there'll be more videos, and I'll just start talking about the wisdom that I've received from the other side. And also I'm going to just keep playing my music. Like, music's just my sort of way of expressing sort of what I've been like going through in those realms as much as I can. But for the most part, it's kind of just been exploring the soul and the multidimensional reality of this existence, because it is multidimensional, and there are many layers and many sort of places and spaces in time that you can go to. Like, we all basically, to give you a brief summary, we all have our own heaven and hell, light, dark, yin, yang, extremes. We push them to different levels, different degrees, but they're all kind of relative to each other. No one's heaven is any worse, hell is any worse, or heaven is any better. It's just, it's just your perception of reality, basically, and how you choose to define it evolves as your soul evolves, and as your reference point evolves, and as your relativity of who you are and what you are and why you are evolves, So yeah, like I said, from at the beginning, I wouldn't really subscribe shamanic journeys to people, but I think definitely the process of exploring your soul and doing the research and I think, my personal experience or perception, I guess, is that really naturally everybody is a shaman of their own reality. We all are, like, we're all choosing our path. But we don't all take psychedelics or go into other realms to do it. We don't have to. Most people don't have to. Some people do, like myself. I've needed to explore the heavenly realms and the underworld and everything in between, like in other dimensions, check out where all the sort of psychedelic alien realms are, and understand the sort of true nature of this sort of virtual reality and how it's made up and constructed. I've been observing the spiritual matrix of the world, is the best way to put it, and I'm creating a bit of a map. I'm going to start sharing the map with you. Anyway, this is the first take of sharing the journey. And it's not all going to be shamanic stuff. Like, it's just mostly about love, and because I've learned a lot about love and light and dark in the journeys, on my journeys. Alright, love and light. In this video, I'm going to quickly just dive a little bit deeper into the heaven and hell thing, because I'm sure a lot of people are thinking, what the fuck are you talking about, heaven and hell? What I'm talking about is that I've experienced both those places. I've been to the direct source, and they're basically radio stations of consciousness, and you can tune into them. We're all radios, and we constantly do, whether we realize it or not. We're constantly tuning into heaven, hell, good, bad, light, dark. Our perception of light and dark, heaven and hell, can change over time as well. So that's the other thing, it's not fixed. These places aren't fixed, and they're different for each of us. There's no just one set reality there. It's just source energy. There's a source, a God force. It's just pure divine love, and it's so freaking overwhelming. It's incredible. It's mind-blowing. It's barely even hard to face. And equally so with hell. It's just so just fucked up that you can't even describe up the fuckness of fucked up. So empty, so alone, so isolating. It's terrible. There, both very, very, very extreme, and they're optional. You can tune in. Like, we're all radios. We get to tune our chakras, our senses, our doors of perception, and that's our main window into the soul. And I'll do a much more detailed video about the doors of perception in another video. Anyway, that's heaven and hell, just briefly. We all got one or two. We all get to choose. They're not destinations that you end up at, though, when you go to the other side. That's different, and I'll talk about all that again in another video. Where we go, how we get back here, from my shamanic perspective anyway. It's like, I'm not telling you how it is. I never will be. I'll just be telling you my perspective of what I've seen and experienced. Okay? It's not, there's no, it's never going to be how it is. Because how it is, really, this is all I can tell you about how it is how you see it. That's how it is. How you choose to see it is how it is. And that can change all the time. So you don't let anyone ever tell you. You got to decide for yourself how it is. I'm just going to share my experiences, because I realize, like, in this modern world, it's kind of a cool thing. Like, we can all just, like, have a channel and share our magic and wisdom and experiences, whether it be music, art, or whatever. I'm just going to do it through YouTube, and maybe Instagram and Facebook will be, like, things that it'll go to. But mainly this YouTube channel. I reckon it's a cool way for me to be able to sort of share my experiences in the shamanic realms. And I thought, fuck, I mean, what's the whole point of having all those experiences if I can't share it with the tribe? So here I go. I'm going to download you with the whole, pretty much, fuck, how old am I now? 51. So started when I was about 6. So what's that, 45 years of tripping. And, you know, like, I've also danced with fire as it intended for 30 years. And that's very psychedelic in itself. And a lot of the time I didn't need the psychedelics. Like, in the beginning, sometimes I would have mushrooms for, like, every day for breakfast, lunch and dinner, like for like a year or two. I was just constantly journeying in the shamanic realms, and it just seemed so normal to me. And to the point where I forgot about reality. I didn't realize everyone else is in a normal sort of TikTok world, and I'm really trying to adjust to this TikTok world. It's challenging for me because I spent such a long time in the dream time. But, you know, I'm doing all right. It's fine. It's just, yeah, I guess part of my journey now is just I got to share some of the stories and all the sort of things that, you know, I've experienced or explored. Because I feel like a lot of it could be really helpful in this reality to understand the nature of existence and how it's kind of made up, you know, and you don't really get to see it when you're inside it. But I've stepped right outside, like right outside, and had a look from other spaces in time and other dimensional places I've been to that kind of just reveal the nature of the fabric of this reality, which is, like I said, it's kind of fundamentally made up by our perception, but there is natural law, basically, nature law, and those nature laws, they sort of govern the way things go, just like the moon pulls the tides and makes the tide go up and down. There's natural spirit laws that kind of govern the nature of this journey, you know, that I've experienced anyway. I mean, and I think they kind of make up, you know, the human matrix. So, yeah, doors of perception is a big one, like how we look through our senses, our 5 senses. So I'll definitely do a long video on that. But just heaven and hell, just, I guess, try tuning yourself into heaven more often is my best suggestion. But also, don't get too high, because what I've found is if you kind of get too high too quickly, you can then fall real quick. So best thing to do is to kind of always gradually, you know, I'm right at, especially at this age, more into comfort zone. You know, stay in your comfort zone. Don't like push too fast, too quickly. Just move gradually into awareness, move gradually into exercise, move gradually into like spiritual awakening, because if you move too quickly, you can have falls. And you know, I mean, if you don't mind taking the falls, that's fine. Go fast, go hard, go home, because I did, and fuck, you know, I took a lot of falls though. It really freaking, you know, you have a lot of shamanic deaths if you go that way. You're better off if you're not that sort of way inclined for the big roller coaster ride. You're better off just gradually learning bit by bit about your soul and how it is evolving through time and space. Because from my experience, that's the reality, folks. Our souls are evolving over a long journey, and this is not the first this is certainly not our first rodeo. You know, we're way down the line now. we're at what I call the quickening, and I believe we're all here now. All souls are here now, and we're here. We've all gathered at this sort of quickening, this end time, because like we've evolved through many thousands of millions of years, and our consciousness has kind of got to this point where we're starting to wake up, like individually and collectively. So there's a big shift happening, you know, and we're starting to understand the nature, the virtual reality nature of our own reality, and how we can fine tune it a bit better, you know. And that's what I'm hoping to assist with, is the fine tuning of perception, basically, and virtual reality, the nature, and how we actually get to choose. And we are choosing all the time, whether we realize it or not. We're choosing this journey. In how we perceive it, we're actually creating it at the same time. It's trippy. Took a lot of trips to figure it out, but I have so much details. I really hope I can be helpful in some way, and maybe no one will even listen, but it's at least good for me to get it out of me, you know. Anyway, that's long enough. Peace. Hey, all right, I feel like I might be about to make my most controversial video ever right from the get-go, so let's go for it. I'm going to talk about God, or at least my experience of God, what people call God. And again, this is just my perception from my experience, or experiences. And I only really had one where I feel like I came face to face with source energy, and looked a bit like that, just pure beam of light. And I could barely even look at it, to be honest with you. I kind of was like behind me, like, and it was just pure fucking love, like just. And it was the light, that same beam of light I could feel was like it was in me. It was in every living thing, literally. It wasn't called judgment. There was no judgment. There was no freaking, you know, damnation about it. It was just not even, no bearded dude. Sorry about that, but this is my experience. But it felt like it was in everything. So it was like in everything. That's why I kind of get how our pagan ancestors saw many gods, like, because it's a force that would appear in, you know, any highly evolved beings that may have rocked up on the planet a long time ago would have maybe appeared as gods, because they would have had a more enlightened force. And I've definitely encountered a fuckload of angels, and angels are on all different levels. You know, you've got your celestial high ones, which are really close to, and again, like when I say angels, that's just a word to describe a celestial source of energy. It wasn't like some dude standing there with wings on, or a halo or anything. It was like not like I'm talking to you either. All my experiences in the celestial realms, there's no words up there or in there. It's not like really an up place or a down place. It's like telepathic sort of language that just sort of hits you in every chakra, and you're not saying nothing or asking no fucking questions, because you've just been bombarded with love that's just so transcendental that it's like indescribable. And it's so, you know, and it's like you're getting 1,000 words at once is maybe the best way to describe that celestial connection when I've communicated with angels. And I spent a lot of time communicating with angels. Like the first real time I really had my big awakening when I was about 19 years old. By that stage, I'd already figured out what the elements were. I'd already figured out a whole bunch of stuff, been on a whole bunch of journeys. And one of my big sort of things I perceived in the world was the masculine dominance, like a real male force everywhere. And it was real, especially in my day in the 90s, like it was like real 80s, 90s. it was real macho, you know. It was not so much in the 90s. The 90s was actually cool. The 80s was pretty freaking macho. It was like, we had some cool icons, but it was a different era, you know. We didn't have phones or anything back then. So, yeah, I'm getting off topic a bit, but basically the source energy, it's just there. It's infinite, it's eternal, and it's just in every living thing. That's my take on God and God force. And the word God, I think, is probably, you know, not a really good word to use. Maybe the force would be better. And also the universe. I like the word the universe, because the universe, like, that's another sort of, you know, experience of God. Like it is like that light that I experienced felt like it was in everything, in every part of the universe, and it formed every part of the universe. It was just the living force. It's like a living life force. Like, that's my take on God. A living life force that's in all living things. But I did, in a shamanic experience, go to that source and kind of see it in infinite space, and it was just fucking overwhelming, you know, but really cool. And you know, that whole angelic thing, that's more just, I don't know, parts of, like, there's definitely all different levels of celestial energy, and you can tune into angels. Like, you are an angel yourself, really, ultimately, I believe. There's a kind of celestial light being inside of every single soul. So, and that's just growing, you know. That's what kind of, God gave us a part of him or her, goddess. God gave us a part of her. Well, goddess is probably the infinite space, you know, like the whole great nothing and the whole space, and God is like the light in that space, and God and goddess kind of define each other, you know. Like the stars in space define space. Without the stars, it'd just be black, but without the black, it'd just be white, you know. So we kind of need the light and the dark. That's the whole thing about the nature of duality and this reality, you know. That's why we have, yeah, God force. Yeah. So anyway, that's God, and yeah, let's just call it the universe from now on. Because I think that word's just so outdated, and I feel like, oh, you know, I guess I've got to talk about religions too. They're all worthy. Take from them what you can. I think there's, you know, good moral coding in all of them. You know, still listen to yourself though, ultimately. But the religions are good. You know, it's good to like have good moral coding, and you know, one of the main things about religions is like the tribe that they form. Like you know, get in different religion and they help you out, and you help each other out. It'd be really nice if all the religions were nice to each other, hopefully, and I believe in the future that is the inevitable outcome. But, you know, I think, especially culturally, if you grew up in a religion, it's good to respect the religion, you know. I kind of, like, culturally, I was baptized to, a Catholic, and I respect that, and I respect Christians and Muslims and Buddha and all the different religions, all the ancient teachers. I respect the pagan religions, and I respect it all. You know, I think there's value in all of it. But the real value is just learning from yourself and taking what you need from everything, you know, not subscribing 100% to anything, just to your own beliefs and to your own sort of perception of reality and what works for you, you know. If you're going to have a religion, you should just be your own, like your own unto yourself. And in that religion, respect all others, and in everyone in their ways, you know, whatever way they want to be in. Anyway, that's my interpretation of God force, and I guess I probably will end up having to talk about that one more too, because yeah, it was a pretty full-on experience. But equally so, like I said in the other video, going to hell was fucking equally fucked up, but just in an absolutely terrible way, you know. And oh, by the way, there's not just one devil either. There's no such thing as the devil. There's like a whole lot of demons on all the different levels, kind of attacking every chakra, challenging you to love, basically, through fear. They use fear. They're kind of, like, if you want to put it in a classical sense, God's highest angels put in a position of reversal to test you to love, to challenge you to love. on, you know, so you've kind of got Satan on the physical, you got Antichrist on the emotional, Lucifer on the mental, the devil on the spiritual, death on the etheric body, and ignorance on the soul body. They're all different demons on all different levels, and they all got different jobs, but, you know, God kind of, or the divine force put them there. And your job as a soul is to overcome them with love. That's the only way. You won't beat them any other way because they're stronger. They've been given more power. They're the power of the dark side. So don't fuck with the dark side. Just work with the love. It'll help you overcome all your demons, and, you know, then you'll really tune into the angels, and the angels are always there wanting to help you, like literally all the fucking time. It's just like we don't always ask. We're usually too busy with our own shit to realize that there's some sort of higher thing. And you know, also your higher self, like there's like I said, an angel in you as well. That part of yourself is definitely really, really good to connect with, but it takes work. You know, you got to kind of work on your conscious mind. You got to clear through your subconscious a bit, get through a bit of limitation, and then focus your consciousness on tuning into your higher self. Like meditation is a really fucking good way to do that. Meditate. You know, breathing is like so fundamental. You'll learn so much from breathing and concentrating on breathing. It's like one of the best things you'll ever do, really. It's one of the things it connects all life. It's the spirit that we all share. So it's kind of like, yeah, and that's the difference. That's spirit. Like, spirit binds us all. Like, the air is the spirit. And God. Like, God and spirit are different things. That's the whole thing. I think there's a whole lot of confusion about the different levels and dimensions of reality. Like, I see that when I look at the literature, I kind of mix things up, you know. Things that most people have kind of got a bit mixed up versions of things. But I'm hoping to help you all straighten that all out. Or at least find a way to, you know. Anyway. Look, I'll show you. We've got some gods around here. That's Ganesh, and this is Shiva and Parvati, and this is one of my favourite ones. It's got a whole bunch of them. Hopefully you'll recognise them in there. Yeah, and this is like a kind of a Taoist god thing, like yin yang. Zen Buddhism is super cool. You know, Lord Shiva up here. You've got the pyramids of ancient Egypt. I think some pharaohs in there. Buddha. And JC's around here for sure. Jesus is always around. He was like a super cool teacher. He had so much like cool shit to share. A lot of love to give and a lot of compassion. Anyway, that's enough about that for now. Love, light, and peace. Okay. I kind of got sidetracked in my video about God, and I was telling you a story, and when I started talking about the 80s, I fucking lost my train of thought, and I just was like, when I watched back over it, I was like, fuck, you're a tripper, dude. You didn't even finish the story. So here I am, going to finish the story. It was basically a story of when I was about 19. By then, I'd gone through high school, and I kind of figured out the world was pretty masculine dominated, and I thought, how can I fix this? Pretty naive thought. But I thought, for myself personally, I thought we all wake up in the daylight, male energy, and we shut down to the nightlight, female energy. So I thought, fuck it, I'll go and live with the moon. So I did. I went back up to where I grew up as a child and lived in the rainforest for a month. I woke up when the moon woke, and I slept when the moon slept. And guess what the fuck happened? My first encounter with celestial force. It was like angel force on steroids. By the full moon of that month, I saw what Aldous Huxley described. If the doors of perception were cleansed, everything would appear as it truly is. And I can testify that everything is fucking infinite. No, it really is. That's how I saw it anyway. Like, my flute was alive. Everything, everything has life force in it. It's just we can't see it because our doors of perception are shut down most of the time. We like close our windows and we trap our spirit inside our bodies, and we don't get to see that infinite and the eternal and the vastness of it. And like I said in the other video, you don't want to rush into it though. It's fucking scary. Like, infinity and eternity is so vast and endless. I understand why we die and forget and come back and have to remember, because like, especially in the past lives, we haven't all been great. You know, we've done some bad shit, like some real bad shit. So we got to like try and heal all that now. That's why we're here, and that's why we keep coming back. So let's do it. But yeah, when I had that experience of living in harmony with the moon, waking up when the moon woke and sleeping when the moon slept, I spent half my time in the daylight, half my time in the nightlight, had a celestial sort of encounter, awakening, my first real transcendental. And then I went and spent fucking too many years taking way too many psychedelics to try and get back there, and it never fucking worked, because it doesn't work that way. Drugs ain't gonna get you there, sorry to pop that bubble, but you got to do the work. Hey, it's like you got to wake your soul up, and keep your doors open them as much as you can. When I say doors, 5 senses, pretty simple. You got your sense of taste, which is like your physical sense of touch first, physical, skin, taste, emotional, feelings, mental, smell, goes to your digestive system, spiritual, sight, because we see through the light. Etheric is sound. Like, I could put a wall, you can still hear me, but you can't see me right now, can you? That's because ether is like, it's like, earth, water, air, fire. Ether is like electricity. It's like the 5th element, but it's also, like I said in my, I don't know if you listened to the first video, but each of those is a body as well. Your physical is like your skeletal body. Your emotional is like your circulation body, your blood flow. Your mental is your digestive system, your fire, it's digesting everything. Your spiritual is your respiration system, your air, and your etheric is your nervous system, your electricity, and your hearing as well. And your spiritual is like your sight. And then when you open up all 5, guess what happens next? You basically connect this chakra to this chakra down here, and this one's blue, this one's red. That opens up this one, which is purple, and that's called your intuition, and that's your soul. That's where your soul sits anyway. That's where your awareness. That's the difference between mental and like thoughts and awareness. Like, awareness is your perception, your soul, and that awareness doesn't change. Like, it's the same. You're the same being you were when you're a little baby, and you'll be the same being you are when you die. Essence is the same. Only the external constantly changes. So just, that's that. But your doors of perception, they can get trapped, by sounds, and like sometimes in the city you can't see past the buildings, can't breathe in the pollution. Like, so that's why it's good to get out to nature, to open up your doors a bit, see a bit further, breathe a bit deeper, listen, or go to places where you hear beautiful music, or watch some beautiful film, or listen to some cool knowledge or whatever. It's good to open your doors of perception, go do some exercise, because that allows your spirit to flow more freely through your body, and then you get closer to experiencing that infinity and the eternity that is reality in my experience or perception, like of what I experienced. Because like when my doors were cleansed, that's what I saw. That's reality. I kind of thought I was done with this little video session for tonight, but I realized as a responsible shaman, I need to talk about psychedelics with you all. Now, psychedelics is something, psychedelic mushrooms, DMT, LSD, all these things are healthy in a natural and limited, minute dose, small doses for normal people, fine. I would not be taking any big doses, because unless you're with a shaman or having guidance, because it can be very dangerous. It seriously can be. You can seriously lose your marbles and maybe never gain them again. The only reason I survived consuming as many psychedelics as I have, and I'll tell you a funny story at the end of this one about my realization, my personal realization. The only reason I survived it is because my intention was always clear. I never put a single mushroom from the very first, well, maybe not the first one because I was only 6, but the second one when I was 16, and then onwards, I always had an intention to learn. I always set my intention clear. When you blast off, you gotta have somewhere to land, and if you don't have a clear blast off, then you're not gonna have a clear landing. And if you go taking psychedelics in a bad mood, it'll just enhance that. If you take them in a good mood, it'll enhance that. Psychedelics are not a party drug. You don't take them to go to a party and have a good time. You go and learn about your soul. That's all they're for. They're not for partying. Unless you're like at a rave and it's like really good environment and there's really supportive, loving people, but not some seedy, grungy thing. It's got to be like natural connection, you know, a place that's going to support you to open your third eye, because basically that's what it does. It opens your third eye and it blasts it open. And that's like a funny story. Like in my first video I said I took mushrooms for a couple of years. Well, it was longer than that, and it was with the intention of opening my third eye. I literally thought I need a lot of purple in there, and you don't need to do that. Trust me, that you do not need to eat mushrooms to open your third eye. There's lots of other better, safer ways to do it. Meditation, just general working on yourself. Your third eye will just naturally open. But psychedelics definitely do it. They definitely do. And yeah, when I arrived in my hometown that I grew up in, and I hadn't been there for like 50 years, I was out at Hell's Gates. I was looking back over the town. I'm like, oh, it must be about 10,000 souls here. And my intuition hit me real hard and said, hey dude, you know how much psychedelics you've taken in your life? If you shared it amongst every human in this town, most of them would lose their minds. That's how much. It's a lot, you know. I've been on a lot of fucking journeys, a lot of DMT, and like blasting myself into hyperspace just to see what's on the other side of the other side of the other side. And yeah, it's highly not recommended, highly not. But I did it, you know, and I survived, and now I'm here to tell the tale. And yeah, the story of the journey and why I survived is because of intention, clear intention. You only ever take psychedelics in a sacred, intentional way. All right? That's my take on psychedelics. Safe, but for normal humans, only in my minute doses, small, like a little bit, incrementally, and not even necessary, you know? Meditation's a much better way to find these things out. I think shamanism and the practice of it is just for chosen members of the tribe, and I was chosen, you know. I really was, like, and I've been initiated many times in the psychedelic realms and taught many things so that I could now explain those things to you. But not many people, very few people have the mindset for it. That's why I'm making this kind of video as a kind of like, hey, don't follow my path video, because my path ain't no path to follow. It's just, I'm just here as a messenger. But it's not a path to follow. You got to follow your own path to find your way to your divine connection, to connect with the divine that's already in you, always has been, always will be, never left, never will. But you sometimes can close your eyes or ears or senses to it, trap it inside you, and it can feel pretty hellish and burn you up. And, you know, because the divine light, like, if it's not aligned, it creates dis-ease in the body, and that will kill you. So my advice is get aligned with the divine, love and shine, and then you'll find the sacred rhyme in magic, sacred, divine time. Psychedelics, careful. So I don't know, I kind of feel like I'm kind of listening in my mind, at least, to what I've said in my previous videos, and feeling like some people might feel a little bit like Alice in Wonderland, falling down the rabbit hole. I need to kind of add a even further warning about psychedelics and going down the rabbit hole. There are, let's just call them entities, or, you know, could even call them aliens, because they're unknown, you know. Alien kind of means an unknown thing. There are unknown forces or consciousnesses out there, and they do want to fuck with the human soul. So that's why you don't mess with psychedelics, because they can get in, you know. And I've had many battles. Like, if I was to describe my true journey, I would say that, or the nature of my shamanic practice, because like shamans come in a lot of different forms. There's healing shamans and magician ones, and, you know, ones for all different sort of tasks in the community. My role has been a warrior shaman. Hasn't been that much fun. It's been a lot of battles, like a lot of battling with entities and fucking all the bullshit that tries to infect the human soul. I've been like face to face with it, going fuck off. We're human, because that's the real thing. They want our attention. Attention is everything. It's energy, it's love, it's focus, and it's the power that we have within. So only give it to yourself and to your family, and you know, and from that perspective, give it out into the universe, universal love, into the eternal love, which is the universal love. The galactic love is the family love. Definitely give it in the family, but to do that, you've got to give it to yourself first. But yeah, so on this Alice in Wonderland journey, definitely protect yourself, you know, because there's entities out there. There's spiritual beings, there's alien beings, there's a whole lot of different beings. And they're some of them are behind the veils, some of them are making the veils. Fuck, there's all sorts of different forces at play in the creation and sort of journey of the human story. So along your journey, protect yourself. Protection is really important, and be safe, and don't, you know, do what I did and just go walking off cliffs, like jumping off cliffs. And I mean, in a physical sense of reality, I abseiled, I connect myself to ropes, and, you know, I'm glad I never got into base jumping, because I probably wouldn't be here. I'd be flying off in a wingsuit somewhere. But I can't do that now, I've got children. But I still rock climb, and but yeah, like metaphorically speaking, I feel like I walked off a lot of cliffs and just sort of, you know, you either learn to fly or you fly or die kind of thing. And I think my soul already had the previous experience to know how to stay focused on the celestial source. Again, that's why I survived my journeys, is because I had intention and I was always in touch with the divine light within me. And that always kept me safe in the darkness and kept me away from all the entities, and kept the entities unable to destroy me, because they can't destroy divine light. Like, light is just light, and if you're out there, just get in touch with your light. If, you know, if you're holding onto your ego or illusions, they're going to fuck with it, and they're going to fuck with you, and you won't survive. So just shed all that shit, get into the light, and get the fuck out of there. Or shine the light bright, because that's the thing. Like, if any demons or entities come for you, all you need to do is get into divine light and shine it bright. It's like a Shiva light. It's like so illuminating and powerful. It's like God's force. So if you stay in touch with your God force, then you're always safe in the multi-dimensional realms, and in this realm, like in the earth plane, like in the Midgard. But yeah, be responsible, you know, like, don't go like the fool in the tarot with your bag just walking off a cliff, because it can be like, you just never know where you're going to end up. That's the thing. And it might take you a long way to get back as well. So travel safe, journey well. So some people might be wondering where I'm at now. Do I take psychedelics still these days? And the answer to that question would be very, very, very rarely, because I don't really need to, because I'm tripping balls anyway, just naturally, off life, surfing, climbing. You know, occasionally I might check in, but sort of, I don't know, it started happening a long time ago, like in the early days when I'd go to parties and stuff, psychedelic parties, like out in the nature, do trance parties. I'd be like feeling like I was tripping before I'd even, like as I'd go, and I was kind of realizing, it got to a point where I realized I didn't actually need to take the psychedelics anymore to get to these places and spaces and states of mind and consciousness. So, and then I started fire dancing a fuckload, and then fire danced pretty much for the last 30 odd years of my life, and that is very psychedelic in itself. So it kind of sustained my ability to look into the spirit world and be in the spirit world without having to continually consume mushrooms. So like the stories of the mushrooms and DMT and psychedelic kind of consumption is mostly in my 20s, which was a long time ago now. And then just, you know, enough doses between then and now to like maintain awareness and check in on like spiritual matters, kind of things that, like, I see that when it's necessary to like look in to other dimensional stuff, I'll go there for sure. But only on my own, and all the journeys that I've always been on, I've pretty much always been on my own. Like, it's not like a thing that I share with people so much. Well, I never really have. But like, I'm sharing stories now. This is the first. I mean, I've told plenty of people plenty of stories over the years and shared my journey with like people I'm actually physically talking to, but never like, online or whatever. But yeah, I kind of figured, maybe it's going to be helpful, but also, I've got to kind of tell my story, but it's all from my perspective and my perception, and where I'm at now, don't really need to tap in. But even like ganja is a natural psychedelic, and I still do like ganja. But unfortunately here in Australia it's illegal now, so it's legal, so we can just get it medicine, and mushrooms grow every now and then, and like that, it wasn't too long ago, I guess, I was walking through the field out at the cliffs and there was a mushroom there, and so I kind of took that as a sign. But one little mushroom doesn't take you too far. Like, there's definitely levels of like how far you can go in, how deep you go on the dosage thing too. So like I said, always keep it light and always keep the intention to learn. Then you'll have the clearest, most functional, healthy journey. Because if you don't, you can, you take mushrooms. I made the mistake once, taking in a bad mood, trying to make myself into a good mood, and fuck, that was a quick way to go to hell. Yeah, don't ever do that sort of shit. Just try and change your mood by taking psychedelics anyway. I don't know, maybe other drugs will do it for you. I haven't really taken many of the other sorts of drugs, but the psychedelic ones, they're the ones that I always felt comfortable with, and they're definitely not to be taken when you're in a bad mood to change your mood into a good one. It'll actually just enhance your bad mood. Taken with the intention to learn, then you can learn a lot. But it's not always easy to like bring that information through to like this reality and make it make sense in like the normal 3D world. So that, even like for me, I've always been able to kind of describe bits and pieces, but it's taken me a long time to be able to articulate a lot of things, because it's just not, it takes a while to land like in reality and understand where reality is for everyone, and then have some useful information. Alright, there we go. Live in the love of flow, and love the flow in the way you go, whichever way that is, like, because whichever way you cruise is pretty cool, really. If you accept it and you let it be. Every journey is a magical one. And so now, that's what I can't see. I trip out sometimes. That's how much of a tripper I am. I'm not tripping right now, and I trip out my mind so much that I forgot that I was just talking about how much I trip now, which is not very much, because I naturally trip. Like, and now I started surfing. Like, I took some LSD to go surfing. I thought, see if this will help me tune in more, like. So I took a big dose and went out surfing, and I completely forgot I was tripping, and because I didn't feel anything in the surf. I feel like I'm tripping in the surf all the time anyway. And then when I got out of the surf, I was like, oh, it hit me again. The acid hit me, and I was like, oh fuck, that's right, I took acid and I'm tripping. But in the surf, it's like a natural trip. It really is. Like, it had no effect on me when I was surfing. Surfing is like a natural. And I think any sort of sport or thing that you do in nature is a natural trip, like a good trip to go on and to do, like jogging in the nature, or climbing in the nature, or swimming. Like, I see people out swimming all the way out into the ocean and back. Lifesavers, they're like amazing. All that sort of stuff. Horse riding, anything in the nature is good for your soul, and is a natural trip. So that's why I don't really need to take psychedelics anymore. Although, if I feel like I need to, I will. But I don't, generally. feel like I need to, because life's a natural truth. So all is well in love and light. Okay, now this is a video I'm going to make which is close to my heart, because this is one I personally struggle with a lot, and that I feel like I really have a grasp of now and I can share. And this one is past lives and healing past lives. And for the most part, the most important thing I've learned about that is to heal the karma of the past life. So whatever past life stuff that comes to you, it's not all roses. It can be thorny, it can be a lot of trauma, it can be painful, but it's all coming to you to heal from. Okay, how do you witness or recognize your past lives? Generally, it'll come to you through synchronicity. You'll be drawn to an age, a time, an era, something you'll want to watch movies about. Say the Viking Age, it'll just draw you in, and you feel a connection to that time, different to like maybe other times, And if you're feeling that, then you learn about that and go dive deep and go through the emotions, process them, and then move on through to the other side. Because you're not in that life, you're here now. That's what's important. But it is important to heal the past and the karma. And whether it's even your life or not, because there's some archetypal lives out there, universal lives. Like Jim Morrison, I've seen that there's a lot of people who have memories of being Jim Morrison, and even Jesus and Buddha and all these different archetypal beings. And if you're having that experience, let that pass through you too. It's okay to connect with Christ consciousness or feel like you're Jim. Jim's a universal spirit. He was free, and he shared a lot of inspiration. And if you go out into that sort of shamanic realm within yourself, you might tap into like past archetypal forces, like the hero's journey. There's a lot of all the different archetypes can be experienced, and I believe our souls have experienced pretty much through our journey all the different archetypes. At least I know I have. Fuck. And then some. I've even created a couple myself. Like, that's how much of the archetypal journey I've been through. But my experience is that when you learn from it, that's when you move through it, that's when you heal it, and that's when you get the real benefit from it, and all the lessons, and you don't. It doesn't even need to, because a lot of time I'd struggle. Oh, do I have to accept this, or is this who I was, or who I am? And the only time it would stop coming at me would be when I kind of did accept it, but in the sense of accept the learning and the lesson and be okay with it, and then become present, in this life, because that's what it's all about. Because you can't exist in the past, but I think the past has created a lot of patterns that can be healed in the present by just getting comfortable with what comes through you, what's drawn to you, what the signs, the synchronicity, the symbols, the costumes. It could be cowboys, it could be could be the gangsters, it could be like French Revolution, it could be, tribal, indigenous stuff that comes through you. Whatever comes through you, whatever culture, whatever time, whatever space, explore it, look into it. Don't resist it, don't fear it, just love it and let it move through and pass through you and teach you the lessons that your soul needs to learn about that time, and heal the pain. And you'll find that there'll be souls around you who'll be reflecting, and they're kind of maybe on those journeys, in those times, in those battles, at those battlefronts, in those wars. Because if you think about the long history of time and space, we've all been everything. We've all had time. There's been enough time to experience being killed so many times in so many fucking different horrific ways. There's a lot of pain inside of us. And we've been warriors, we've been freaking all sorts of shit. Like all sorts of teachers, healers, lovers, We've done good, we've done bad, and it's all in there, and it's all possible to move through and heal and release, release your soul from the debt of your soul's karma by just like letting it pass on by. Be a rider on the storm, don't let the storm just learn to surf it. That's my subscription, is to the surfing salvation of the soul. Surf the waves, because everything's waves, so you just got to learn to ride the waves, or glide down them, or skate them if you're a skater, or ski them if you're a skier, or sail them if you're a sailor. But whatever the waves that come, let them go, let them flow, and then you will grow. And you'll know, you'll learn more, you'll discover, and you'll uncover information that'll be part of your salvation and your soul story. So enjoy the glory of the journey. It will unfold as the stories are told. You just got to let go and let the flow show you the way. And don't resist, It's all good. It's all divine. It's all a part of this sacred time. That's past lives, present lives. Because if you heal them, then you can become present, and then you can have a conceptualization of where you're going. You're not really going to know properly ever where you're going until you know where you've come from. And within your subconscious is everything that's ever been gone in through your 5 doors of perception. It goes into your subconscious and it gets stored in there. And that's what your subconscious is. It's the collective memory of your soul. There's all the stuff that went in through these senses. And it's poof. And generally it's in your body. That's why the pains in your body are those subconscious freaking memories that you haven't healed. So get in there, look at that pain, love it, heal it. It's you. It's who you are, and it's the only way you're gonna ever become anything other than the pain that you feel is by loving the pain you're experiencing. And generally, a lot of it is not this lifetime. Is, from what I've experienced, is buried archetypal pain from other lifetimes. And you think about it, Jesus wasn't the only dude who got crucified. They fucking crucified at least 6,000 people after the Spartacus revolution. I mean, imagine being Spartacus, walking down the street and seeing all your crucified friends, thinking, fuck, was that worth it? I just fucking led a revolution for freedom, and then they fucking crucified all my mates. I don't think he would have felt too good about that. So it's a lot of people probably have that Christ pain, that crucifixion memory. That was just one event. The Romans crucified a lot of people. And a lot of witches got burned, a lot of souls have suffered a lot of things. So all that subconscious stuff needs to be released and healed and loved. And in my experience, the way you do it is just by being observant and acceptant and loving, Loving is learning, is earning, is growing. Past life, present reality, future destiny is divine. Alright, here we go again. We're going to break on through to the other side this time. People have been hearing me talk about the other side, so I'm going to do my best to explain what the other side is. The other side is difficult to explain because it's oneness. And in oneness, in duality, which I'm here with you all, in duality, in this reality of time-space, oneness don't make a whole lot of sense, but if you can imagine everything merged into one big love super consciousness, then that's my experience of the other side. It's pure life, and I hate to break it to you that this is a bit of a Plato thing really, but this ain't it. This ain't life. This is actually our death. And life is something much greater. It's in oneness. It's life involves love. But that's why we're here in life, to learn how to love, to exercise our capacity to love. So when we die out of life and go back into love, we have a greater capacity to exist in love. And, you die out of life, get born into love. Die out of love, get born back into life. It's a cycle from my experience. Everything I'm talking about is just purely my experiences. What I've seen, what I've witnessed, what I've looked at. I've experienced life, and this ain't it, folks. it's life is having a good time. Life is having some fun and living and loving and doing all the fun things. That's life. This is for the most part, mass slavery, and suffering. We learn so much from it though, fuck, don't we learn a lot from our suffering, from everything that we do wrong and right and good and bad and here and now and in every other time, that's what we learn from. So it's very valuable. our suffering. But what I've experienced also is when you heal your karma, then you get to start to choose your suffering. That's why I always encourage people to exercise. It's like suffering you choose. It hurts to exercise, but it makes you stronger. So many of the things that make you strong hurt. It's like chosen suffering. So choose your suffering, learn how to love, live your life, and then you'll your angel wings will grow, and so you know, like, you can just fly out of here if you want. Yeah, that's what I'm working on anyway. I don't think you really have to die to get out of here. I think there's other ways, but it involves like transmuting, like recognizing, you know, the spiritual and the physical, the material, and, you know, science is way onto it. It's proven it. It's looked right inside, and there's fucking nothing in there. It's a bunch of electricity or space, you know. It's fucking science is like looking into the eyes of God and seeing that, well, God's looking back. I think science is awesome, you know. It definitely is proving so many ancient mystical truths to be real. And as far as I can tell, yeah, we're here to learn about reality, and reality is chosen and created and formed through perception, in my kind of experience of it. But I've you know, like in the other video I said my door's perception got opened once. And that to me was life. Like, I saw life and I experienced love, and it was like, whoa. I came back to this reality and was like, fuck, this ain't it. Like, this is not love. And also in other journeys, many other journeys into the celestial realms, you go into a space of oneness, and it's, you know, anyone who's been there can, you know, they'll vouch for this. It's fucking hard to describe oneness in duality, like the beauty and transcendental nature of the universe and the infinite nature of that, you know. It's vast, endless, and beautiful. So, but I definitely think we came here. This is our choice. We chose to be here in this realm, in duality, in Midgard. And it's a good thing. It's a good place. It's a good journey. And there's a lot of healing, a lot to learn from, you know, just looking deeper, looking more realistically at reality, you know, rather than just blundering on through, you know, just like open eyes up and kind of go, oh, okay, how could I choose to be today? Could I choose to be more loving in more loving ways? You know, is that possible? And then figure out how you could be nicer or more loving to yourself, you know, and your neighbours and your mothers and your brothers and your fathers and your sisters and, you know, children. Definitely the children. Like, they're the ones you really got to look at, because they're the ones who are most recently with God. So the children, they're actually the closest to God. So if you watch the innocent children, they're the ones that will teach you how to be more divine, how to shine more. Don't like try and teach them so much. I mean, teach them what they want to learn, but listen to them and learn from them, because they're our greatest teachers. I got 4 of them, and they're like, each one of them is like divine and uniquely magical, you know, like definitely uniquely magical. Souls are unique. They come through with unique wisdom and magic. So let them just teach you and provide for them what you can, so that they can learn and grow on their soul's journey. All right. And I'm not sure what this video was about, but whatever it was, I'm sure it was good. Like I said, I'm a tripper. I'm not tripping, but I'm definitely a tripper. I was thinking, how crazy would this be? One time, I'm going to find some mushrooms, because the psychedelics in my life, I've never actually kept them with me. They always just come to me. Like, I'll find mushrooms, or someone will, like, I'll go to a party and someone will give me some acid, and I'll be like, and I usually know because I feel like I'm tripping first, but but I thought one time maybe I'll find some acid and I'll take you all on a journey. How funny would that be? Tripping on the freaking... Maybe I'll even live stream it. We'll find some topic, something we want to search, you know. Because the thing is, that's the reason why I don't really anymore, because I kind of know fucking almost too much, I feel like sometimes. So I don't really feel like I need to trip, you know. I kind of like... I've figured what this trip's all about, at least for me, anyway. It's all about learning and loving and trying to learn to love. Fundamentally, soul first, family, and then the universe, and all families, all tribes, everyone. Universal love. I think that's the goal. But yeah. So, life is a trip. But I think there is potentially questions and things that need to be understood. But not for me for now. Maybe if anyone asks me a question, if anyone ever watches any of my videos, they've got a question or two that I haven't already figured out or asked myself, which I'd be really surprised, because you know what I've discovered in life, one of the hardest things to do is have original thoughts. Like, think for yourself, because most of the stuff we think and see and watch and do is like all recycled stuff. It's not that easy to think new stuff and have properly purely original sort of ideas. Like, you look at all the stories and the movies and the tales, like the Plato stories, like the Matrix. Like, Plato wrote that story like when back in the day, like a long time ago, and then they made it into a movie like recently, and it was fucking awesome. Like, totally mind-blowing. The Matrix, like, so worthy. But it's a story, it's an old story, and it's an old archetypal story, and yeah, about busting out of your cave and just seeing things as they truly are. And I think it's a story for all of us. Like, we're all Neo. We all have our own journey, our soul's journey. It's like an archetypal journey, like Carl Jung used to talk about. That I really think, that psychology stuff's super cool too. Like, I don't want to get too wrapped up in anything particular, but it's good to learn a bit about everything, and obviously master whatever you can. Like, the main thing I've been kind of focused on as a profession through my life is just dancing with fire. So I try and, like, whatever I learnt from that, I try and sort of move that or pass that on into other things I do, like my surfing or climbing or anything. Anyway, that's enough for now. Love and light. I'm going to talk about dreams and the dreaming and the difference. Dreams, it's not really my forte. I don't remember a lot of my dreams, but I definitely know a bit about the dream landscape. And I know that you can become conscious in your dreams. It's happened to me a couple of times where I've been, quite a bit conscious and able to, like, be aware that I'm dreaming. And some people can become so conscious that they can direct their dreams, which I think is really cool. But the dreaming, when I say the dreaming, I'm talking about kind of like, it's a thing here in this continent, in Australia. Like, we live in this continent, and this continent has a thing called the dreaming, which is like, it's because it's like so ancient here, like the oldest culture, like on the planet, indigenous culture here. It's had stories and dream lines and all this ancient wisdom that's just in the land and everywhere around. And I think it's in every land, on all cultures, all planets. Like, it wasn't that, like, we're in the land of the child here. I'm in Australia, and in Australia we've got like Big Mama, which is like America. Europe is Mama and America is Dada. But we're the child. Like, we're like a very new sort of continent, and we have some pretty new ideas. It's like pretty tough here, though. It's not easy to be here. It's like living in a desert sometimes. You kind of fend for yourself. But, you learn a lot from the land, and there's a lot of dreaming, like, in the land, that from such an old culture that's been here for such a long time, It's ancient wisdom, and when you go into spiritual journeys in this country, you tap into the dreaming, like, you end up in the dream time, and it's a magical sort of perception of reality, basically. Like, the best way to understand the indigenous cultures, if anyone's ever seen that movie Avatar, they were the avatars, we're the humans. They were living, all indigenous cultures were living in a much more connected reality, connected to the magic, the flow, the energy, everything. We really fucked it up for them, like, big time. It's like, yeah, it's really shit. Like, but it happened, and it's part of evolution. And there's the culture here in Australia is such a loving culture and such a forgiving culture that I think they have so much more wisdom than than us, and so much more compassion that they sort of see that it's all part of the dreaming, you know, which is like a big spiritual journey that the planet's on. And you know, there's stories of the rainbow serpent, the creator, and things like that you can learn about as well. But the dreaming, it's it's like a magical unfoldment of spiritual reality for me personally. In this reality, in the time reality. And you know, apparently the indigenous people, they had two times. They had the dream time and reality time, and they do their day-to-day tasks. And for me, you know, in my life, I've had to make them very minimal, like, so that I spend most of my time in the dream time. I've never been that good at like normal things, like, and you know, most of the time, like for the first sort of decade and a half of my adult life, I just wander around with the same. I just had leather pants and my boots, and I didn't have to wash them or anything. So I'd just be sleeping on beaches and going out into spaces to connect with angels and caves. And I spend most of my time just nomadic, kind of tapped into the dreaming in this country, living nomadically, sleeping in the caves around Sydney, the rock climb, because I was a rock climber, knew where all the caves were, and on the beaches in Byron. And for me, it just felt like a natural sort of lifestyle. And I really, you know, back then you could hitchhike. I used to hitchhike a lot down to Sydney and back, and, you know, just try and do fire shows, but mostly always staying in nature. I never rented anywhere. I just was, and stayed at a lot of parties, like trance parties were big, and they'd go all night. Like back in those days, we didn't even start parties till freaking midnight. I don't know what's going on these days, but when back in my day, if you rocked up at midnight, the party was just getting started. And the idea of leaving before the sun rose, like, just meant you weren't very much into dancing, basically. Like, most people dance to the dawn, to the sunshine. But anyway, it's a different era, you know, things change. And now here we are, like, in this reality where, you know, not that many people are aware of the dreaming, but it's there. You just got to tap into it. It's magic and it's there. And it's beautiful. And you just, like, let the dreaming teach you. Let the land teach you. Learn from the land and the dreaming. Because it's special. It's magical. And it's like the angels. The dream is like angels. Like, angels are always there. They're always willing to help. But they're not going to just help you. You got to, like, ask them for the help, and then they'll help you. Same with the dreaming. Like, you got to want to learn about it. You got to have respect for the dreaming, and respect for the culture, and respect for the spirits. And everywhere you walk in this country, you should ask for permission from the spirits first. Like, talk to the dreaming, and then you'll have a better time everywhere you go, especially in Australia. And I'm sure it's the same in other countries too, but especially in this country. You know, respect the land, respect the dreaming, and your pathway will be more comfortable in this continent. But you know, that's the difference between dreams and dreaming. I know much about dreams. I've smoked a fair amount of pot in my life as well, so that clouds your dreams. It's not very good for, like, having dream recall. For me, it's just, I've had a lot of physical pain, sciatica, and other, like, wounds in my body that I've had to heal, and I kind of used it as a medicine to numb the pain. Like, I mean, I tried the doctor medicines too, but, you know, ultimately none of it works. Like, it's just, you got to heal the pain. Like, the only thing that worked for me on my pain is just exercise, really, and stretching. Stretching's fucking awesome for, like, my physical pains. And psychological stuff is more just self-reflection and meditation and contemplation, and just being real. Be real with yourself about your issues, if you got any. I know I had a lot. I had a fuckload, but they were all just different things to teach me, you know, like all the trauma, all the different challenges of my childhood. It was, you know, I like respect all the lessons that I learned, all the people that were in my life to teach me those lessons. I'm grateful for. It's the only way forward is to, like, learn from everything and love everything and be good with everything, because it is all for you to you know, learn from, because learning is earning. And if you don't learn, it's just like lessening. You get the lesson and you get less and less and less. Like Groundhog Day over and over and over. Learn, you earn, you spiral up. And then you'll get different lessons, bigger ones, more challenging ones, deeper ones. Like, it's a never-ending, infinite journey. Anyway, love and light. Now I'm going to talk about my greatest discovery. The thing that I've learned that has helped me the most. And it's super simple. It's called exercise. Any type, any form, all different forms, I suggest. But mental exercise, like exercising your brain, learning all the time as much as you can. Physical exercise, fucking love it. Like, it's so good for you, stretching. Like, I think diet would be a really good thing too. I mean, I've had a fuck diet most of my life. I've been drinking kerosene and spitting it out my mouth and drinking bourbon to wash it away. No, I can't really talk about diet. You wouldn't want to have my diet. It's pretty fucked up. It's been all over the shop. I mean, it's pretty good now. Like, I mostly just eat once a day maybe, and then try and eat some power stuff. Most of my life I was sort of vegetarian, but just by nature, I wasn't really any conscious choice of anything. I'm a positive blood type, so it was super easy to be vegetarian. But then now I eat a bit of meat because I only usually eat once or twice a day, and I try to eat something that's got a lot of energy. But I don't think it's good to eat too much of anything, like that'd be my diet tips. Just I like change it up all the time, and definitely don't eat too much of any one type of thing, a bit of everything. It's good. Try all the different cultural foods of the world. They're all awesome. But exercise is like the fucking best thing there is on the planet of any kind, even if it's just walking. And realize that when you're doing things, like if you're working, that's exercise too. So try and do it consciously, like move your body consciously. Like, in my early growing up years, sometimes I'd do some different types of jobs and always trying to, like, if I was like working on buildings or doing labor stuff, I'd be trying to think of it as exercise and trying to make sure I kept my back straight and good posture and, like bend my legs rather than my back to do the work and think about it as body training. And then you're kind of getting paid to do exercise at work if you're doing laborious sort of exercise, But yeah, that's my best tip about the exercise is consciousness. Like, be aware of your body and how it feels, and don't push yourself too hard. You don't need to do a lot. You just got to do it all the time, consistently. That's it. That's the tips. That's the best thing I learned is, and it's the thing that's healed my body the most. I've had like a lot of quite a bit of physical pain from sciatica that I got from a rock climbing injury at an early age when I was 19, and it's totally fucked me up. Like, but it taught me so much too. It taught me to stretch and taught me to, like, get out there and do the exercise that I needed to heal my body, which turned out to be kind of mostly rock climbing, the thing that caused the pain in the first place. But it was there to learn from. And yeah, and other sports too, like surfing and sailing. I like sailing and motorbike riding and horse riding, and I like doing archery, and there's a lot of things I like doing actually. I like all of them. I'm not very good at team stuff though, I gotta admit. I've been pretty shit at that my whole life. Not very good at being in groups. But, I think team sports would be good too. Any sports, anything that gets you out there. Like, team sports are good because you get to bond with friends and stuff, and that'd be cool. But yeah, sport is like the best thing you can do for your body, mind, spirit, and soul, I do believe. And then the other levels of exercise, like, like I said, mental exercise, like you can figure that out for yourself. There's so much to learn. Spiritual exercise would be like breathing, meditation, things like that. Emotional exercise would be, arts, music, watching movies, even like anything that stirs your feelings up is good, and just paying attention to your feelings. And etheric body, nervous system, how do you look after that? That's I think it's kind of like looking after all the other 4 levels mostly, and listening really, really closely, like maybe to your inner teacher, because your inner tuition is your inner teacher. Your inner tuition is the teaching that comes from within. So that's what you really want to like listen to. That's your ultimate sort of voice that you want to hear all the time. And that's the quiet voice inside. It's but I do believe that comes from your sort of etheric field. And so exercising, like working on all the different levels of your body, it's like, for me personally, it's just the thing that's helped me sort of grow the most and like learn the most and ground the most, sort of all this shamanic cosmic consciousness is like, can trip you out a bit sometimes. Reality can trip you out. And also when you get like stronger in your body, then it makes everything you do easier. Like it makes it easier to do shit. Like become more aware of your body and how you feel and stretch and stuff. Then like when you're doing the harder tasks, like my little youngest child, he's like starting to run so fast, and like when he first started running, I was like 74 kilos and I was fat. Like for me that was really fat, and I could barely keep up with him, and he was only like fucking 2, and I was like, what the fuck am I going to do about this? I gotta start training. So I lost like 14 kilos. I'm about 60 kilos now, and I did that. That wasn't too tricky. You just got a main thing you got to do is change your diet, like minimalize eating shit, eat better shit, and do more exercise. And then I shed the weight pretty quickly doing it that way. Just eat less shit, eat better shit, and good shit. Eat good shit. Because I'll tell you a funny thing. Everything's made out of shit. It's all sun shit. Everything comes out of the sun, the stars. We're all just sun shit. How funny is that? It's funny because it's true. It's fucking true. We're all made up of stardust, sun shit. So eat good shit, think good shit, do good shit, and then you won't be full of shit and you won't talk shit. It's like this reversal thing I was talking about before, like exercise, choose your suffering. It's such a good thing to do, is choose the way you want to cruise. And the best suffering is exercise. It's like it's a lovely way to cause yourself pain that's very beneficial. This video is going to be just a bit more about my personal journey. Turns out I am a surfer. I kind of forgot that for a while. Not that I ever really had it as an identity, but I've discovered recently it's actually the core of my being, because when I was a child, one of my first experiences in life of the moment, of living in the now, I was out at Fraser Island or Double Island Point somewhere, not sure which one. It was one of those wild coastlines where we were camping on the beach, and me and my brother and 2 friends got dragged out into the ocean, and we all kind of almost drowned, but I was the one that kind of got dragged right out the back, right out past the break. Saw the sharks starting to surround me, and I was a child. I was super young, can't remember exactly how young, but I was like, I remember being so present in the moment and just being kind of laying there in the ocean and just lying on my back and just being totally aware of the now. And I guess I surfed one of my first body surfing waves. I waited for a set, and when a wave came, I just went for it and got barrel rolled into shore. And then, I started surfing like around 5 or so, and I could doggy paddle, maybe do a bit of froggy. I learned to swim properly when I was about 10. So what I kind of figured out later in life is that surfing was actually what gave me my first muscles, like the first strength in my body, because I had to paddle. And as a grommet in the 80s, it was like pretty fucking hardcore. It was fun, it was when the shortboards started to rule the surf. And you had to, like, deal with the waves and the ocean, and you had to, like, surrender to getting smashed and being at the bottom of the pecking order. And I remember surfing till dark and having dolphins jump out in front of me and scare the shit out of me. And I remember just, having to survive like the natural forces at a young age, and that really gave me a lot of strength, I believe. And throughout my whole life, I've never not had a surfboard, so I've kind of always been a surfer, but I just never kind of consciously knew it. I kind of thought of myself more as a rock climber or a fire dancer, because, people identify with their job, and my job was dancing with fire, so I was like a fire dancer. But I kind of realised that I always had a surfboard, and I'd always go back to surfing my whole life. Every time I'd have troubles, usually, I'd be like, and I'd need to find myself, I'd be like, I gotta go surfing. It's fucking funny. Funny because it's true. I always kind of laugh when I find things really true, like funny, true things. And yeah, so I go surfing, and oh yeah, that gave me a thought of suggesting that if you want to connect with your inner child, like if you're like my age or anywhere in between, just go and do the things you did as a child. For me, it was surfing. So when I go surfing, I feel like a freaking 5-year-old again, 6-year-old. I know, young. It's good for me. It's really good for me, But then later on in high school, I discovered rock climbing, and that was really good too. That like helps you face your fear. And that was the next time I really got to experience the moment, when I was up on a rock wall in the Blue Mountains, like run out off the deck. And back in those days, it wasn't soft. Climbing was different. Run-outs were like 5-10 meters. There was no such thing as Z-clipping. If anyone knows what that means, they'll know what I'm talking about. It was different back then. We had carrot bolts. We had to pull bolt plates out of our chalk bag, dust them off, put them on a freaking little bit of metal on the wall. And that's if we could survive holding on long enough. And yeah, whippers were like 10, 20, sometimes 30-meter falls. Rock climbing back in those days was hardcore too. And then, so that taught me a lot as a teenager. Surfing was like my inner child's thing, and rock climbing was my like teenage thing. And then fire dancing, I guess, has been my adult thing. And now I try and do all things. I mean, yeah. All the things that are good for me anyway. I play music a lot too. That's something I find very therapeutic, like playing guitar, singing, playing flute, play didgeridoo. I play a bit of drum, but I'm not that. I feel like my rhythm is more like timeless time, but it kind of works for maybe something. I like all instruments. Like I like, harmonica, and yeah, I think it's really, for me, being good to play instruments. But exercising has definitely been the thing that has been making me the strongest. And yeah, and surfing is like I don't know, I guess it's just my soul. It's just what I've always done, always come back to. It's been my greatest teacher. We all come out of the Mother Ocean, so for me, like, connecting with the ocean has been very healing personally. And it returns me to myself, but whatever you do as a young person, I think is good to do for your reconnection, So yeah, that's kind of, I guess, my journey more with like what I do for myself to try and keep myself going, and what I have done at different stages through my life. It's yeah, and then fundamentally, I guess the other thing I would have to mention in this one would be that I feel like my greatest teacher has always been Mother Nature. So like getting out into nature, you just learn so much, like out on the rock faces, in the ocean, you know, anywhere, like anywhere in nature, there's a lot to learn if you observe and be present and just pay attention, you know, get into the moment. And yeah, so that's me with what I do for me. Anyway, this is going to be a fun video. I've decided to talk about love and my heroes. So, you know, growing up as a surfer in the 80s, it was all the 80s surfers. Like, they're all cool and they're pushing boundaries. But then, you know, I became a rock climber. And as a teenager, my hero and really the goat of rock climbing, and still is and always will be, is Wolfgang Gulich. It's heartbroken when he died in 1991, but he like pushed the boundaries. And I'm going to talk about pushing the boundaries, like why people become the greatest, like in the modern era. Like in my time, you know, Chris Sharma, he's been like the kind of boundary pusher. And then most recently Adam Ondra and Janja Garnbret. And the reason why all these people are the greatest, in my opinion, is because they love it the most. Like you look at Adam, he doesn't have the perfect stats of the perfect climber, but he's touched more rock, felt more rock, loved more rock, paid more attention to more rock than any fucking one else. The dude's loved, and through that love and devotion. And I'd say the same for Kelly Slater. I mean, fucking look at the dude. He's like the ultimate of ultimate legends. And he's surfed every type of fucking wave, like every type of board in every type of freaking condition. And he's loved more passionately than anyone else. Like, it's what makes you the greatest, you know? And yeah, so that's what I think about, you know, my heroes. Like they're people like Janja Garnbret. Like, what a freaking goddess. Like, she's climbed like unbelievable, like climbed through unbelievable levels of like what's possible, you know. And you know, she's like a sport climbing person. Adam Ondra is more like outdoors, and he's like currently pushed the levels like higher than anyone. Like, fuck, the dude's he's on a mission from God. Like, he's a legend, like absolute legend. But yeah, Wolfgang Gulich, he's the true goat, and every rock climber, I don't think there's a climber on the planet that could really disagree with that. I mean, maybe someone could try, but good luck. Yeah, and same with like Kelly. Like, fuck, no one could disagree with his track record. Like, the guy's a living machine, you know, and super conscious of health and looking after like the ocean and, you know, what's important. So yeah, that's what makes my heroes, is humans that love more passionately than any others, because they're the ones that become the greatest at the things that they love and do. And, you know, and I don't think you need to be great, you know. I'm not saying you have to be great at anything, really. I just get inspired by humans who do that. I don't feel like I could ever really reach that sort of level or capacity, or even need to, or anyone really needs to. But the fact that some people do and have that passion and that ability to love one particular thing that much, like, hats off to them. Like, it's fucking incredible, and it shows us all what's possible. Like, Kelly's just showed us what's possible. Same with Wolfgang back in his day, and Adam and Janja right now in climbing, just showing us what's possible, which in my mind is like just so epic and beautiful and magical, super cool. That's why they're my heroes. So I wanted to make this video to honour my legendary, heroic sort of guides. Even though they probably, I'm sure they don't know that, but I don't know. Yeah, they're super cool. Folks, here we go again. I'm living in the land down under. Most of you would have realised that by now from perhaps my accent, what I've been talking about. So wanted to talk about this country and some of the things I've learnt. Like in this country, Australia, we have this thing we call the tall poppy syndrome, which I actually personally think it comes from the land. It's like a thing that, you know, when you get too self-inflated, it kind of cuts you down and puts you kind of in your place. Because in my perception of humans, like, we're all equal. Come on, let's get real. No one's better or worse than anyone else. We're all on kind of our own journeys, just learning. So, you know, and I think it comes from, when I say I think it comes from the land, I feel like it comes from the ancient culture of the Aboriginals. Like the indigenous people in this country, they would constantly like burn and cleanse the land, and it would like refresh it and wipe away all the old and give like room for the new growth and keep all the things on a sort of even level. And, you know, I think that's important, like within your own soul journey, to like constantly sort of, I don't know, tall poppy yourself, you know, like cut yourself down so that you can be more realistic about reality and recognize that we're all like incredibly divine human beings. So, you know, inflate yourself with everyone else, but don't like inflate yourself beyond thinking that you're anything better than anyone else, because you're just not. You're just fucking not. None of us are. So, you know, get with the program. That's my take on Australian culture, and one of the things I've learned from the bushfires is why we do it, or why it was done. And you know, the modern rangers work with the indigenous in this country, and they try and do control burning these days, which keeps the land safe. You know, it regenerates, it clears away what the indigenous used to call the rubbish or the scrub on the ground. You know, like if you've got a property in this country, you've got to kind of keep the boundaries clear, because as most people know, the whole thing sets on fire sometimes, like literally the whole country. And we get a lot of floods, we get a lot of fucked up shit going on, but it's all just stuff to test us and make us become more bonded sort of communities and humans, and more loving and compassionate and supportive. And, you know, that's why we get these tests from Mother Nature. So yeah, love living in the land down under. It's like but the other thing too that's kind of funny here is everything's upside down. So as far as I'm concerned, if you live in Australia, the financial year is the beginning of the year, midwinter, you know, and what we celebrate as like the middle of the year is actually, it's like summer solstice, really. It's like midsummer celebration. And you know, our things are all topsy-turvy too. Like Halloween is a harvest festival, not a spring festival, and Easter is a spring festival, not a harvest festival. In the southern hemisphere, like Halloween is in springtime, and Easter is in like autumn. So it's back to front, upside down, but same. You know, you just got to like orientate yourself properly when it's like midwinter, winter solstice in Australia. It's the end of the year. You know, it's where we go in the darkness, we get refreshed, and we come out for another cycle, another journey, you know. So that'll help you orientate. And I like to orientate with the tides, but I'm a surfer, so fuck, you know, and the moon. Like the moon's always been big for me. So anyway, there we go. Living in the land down under. Tall poppy. Like cut your own grass and then no one else will have to do it for you. Right, this is going to be an interesting one. I'm going to talk about money. So what is it? Energy. What is energy? Well, let me use electricity to describe energy. What energy is, what money is, what the force is. It's kind of all tied in. It's the same shit, different dressings, kind of. So, energy, science proves, can't be created or destroyed, just changes form. Yeah, got that. Money, like electricity. Like, what can we do with electricity? We can turn it into cold. We can turn it into hot. We can turn it into freaking computers. We can turn it into whatever we want. It's an energy. It's just whatever you kind of plug it into, like the universal consciousness. Like whatever you put into the universal consciousness, it'll come back at you. It'll manifest. It's energy. Same with money. It's just an energy that changes form and has the potential to manifest things in this world. And the best things that energy should be used for, in my opinion, if you were going to ask me, I'm sure nobody is just the greatest good of humanity. Simple. Like, let's just use all the energy, all the money to create a kind of a utopian world. Because let's face it, what's the end game? We either do that or we fuck it up. So let's do it. And the way to do it is just all the intelligent people do all the intelligent things. Find all the solutions to all the problems in the world. Because we can. We're a fucking smart bunch. And I've really seen over the last, 30, 40 years, 50 years, humans are just incredible. Like, what we're able to do, the sporting levels of humans' abilities, the intellectual levels, the scientific levels, the mathematical levels. Like, we're a pretty freaking clever bunch, I reckon. We have a lot of potential anyway, like, if we use it in the right way. And the right way, in my opinion, is to create the greatest good intentionally, because we can. And yeah, just accept, all right, we warred for a long time, and that taught us how to compete. We competed for a long time, and that's teaching us how to cooperate. And that's like literally the next step, is collective cooperation for the greatest good. Pretty simple, really, like when you actually think about it. And I do like to think about it. I like to think about what's possible, to dream. And I know I'm definitely not the one to do any of these sorts of things, because I ain't no scientist or mathematician or politician or any of those sorts of things, and I never really will be. I'm just like, I don't know, I'm a raven talking about my journey through many worlds and seeing all the humans doing all the different things and realizing, wow, they're incredible. We're all incredible, and we have such incredible potential, especially if it's focused towards the greatest good. And it's just a shift from collective competition to collective cooperation. Like, think about it, all the businesses of the world, win-win situations. So all of a sudden, it's an awesome thing to work for the big companies, because they look after you the most, and they make it really comfortable for you and make it really easy. And they also allow you to change all the time and get better and better jobs, which leaves those jobs for others. And we set up civilization where you don't have to work like 5-6 days a week. You work 3 days if you just want to cruise, 4 days if you want to get something. Give space for everyone to sort of like have a job, like we need to shuffle the system around a little just to give people a bit more breathing space. We can do that. There's plenty of robots and computers and shit. They can build a lot of fucking things, and everyone should just have the freedom to kind of choose and be supported to do that, in my opinion, like supported to do whatever they pursue their heart is, wherever it leads them. And there should be support for all souls, in my personal opinion, for all that. Like, why not? Like, we're clever enough. We've got a lot of good stuff going on already. We just got to like tweak it a bit more, and it's definitely tweakable. Like, the whole thing's tweakable. Tweak ourselves, tweak the world, and we're on the path. We're on the way to the greatest good for all human beings and all living creatures, and the planet, the earth, the minerals, the animals, all the humans. And especially the children, just got to make it great for the kids, because most of us grow up and forget we are kids, and that's a real problem. Like, you don't want to do that. Just got to remember what your dreaming is, like, and then fulfill it, like, whatever it fucking is, and like, let it unfold, like, and things don't always happen in the time you think they will. Trust in divine timing, but there is a higher purpose, in my perception, or belief, I guess. It's a belief, I'm not sure. But I do, it's a belief. Believe that everyone has some divine purpose that they can discover and fulfill, And if you just sort of search inside your soul and your intuition, your heart and your mind, you'll find it. It's there. It's definitely there. So love energy, love money, love life, love source energy, and use it for the greatest good. All right. Surfing. yeah. Oh, and this is rock, like rock and roll, surfing. So there's like earth, water, fire, air, and what was the other one? We got up to air. Peace. Oh yeah, ether, and I'll have to put this down. Soul. It's like soul's a prayer, a divine prayer, like, the as above, so below thing. Yeah, so love your soul. All right, this is a quick extension on the money thing. This is like the computer game. All right, just to explain money just a little bit more detail in our financial system. Life's a fucking computer game, all right, everyone? Simple as that. Money in the computer game is the points you get. Like, you can get lots of points. You can get lots of fucking points if you play the game long enough. And you collect them, and then, then you get different levels. And that's like, I don't know, power or evolution. Like, people power up, they get to new levels of status. But it's just a fucking game, people. Come on, seriously. We've gotten, like, I played asteroids when I was a kid, and I clocked asteroids. I got to the end and it reset. It's like the points reset, the levels reset, every fucking thing resets. So it's like, well, see it as a game, see it for what it is, and use the energy instead of, like competing. Like I was saying in another video, we got to get all the biggest companies of the world cooperating, or competing still, but just like we hold the Olympic Games to test our medal against each other, the companies do the same thing. Compete to be the best company on the planet, to do the most grace, to serve the most people, to look after the most people, to look after the environment, to be the most environmentally friendly, to be a leader, a pioneer in the way of like doing business in the world, so that it's always working for everyone, not fucking anyone over, That's the future. That's win-win, right? So I'm talking about, play the game, but play it like well, like and with respect, and realize that, like money, points, levels, power, it's just a part of the game. It's not important. It doesn't make you important if you clock the game or not, if you got lots of money or not, if you got up lots of levels or not. What's important is what you do with the money you have and the levels you get to. If you use it for the greatest good, then it's a fucking good thing. Simple. All right. Peace out. Okay, this is going to be another one about civilization. Like, I'm going to talk about jail, police, armies, all that correctional stuff. Now, I'm going to remind you, this is all just my personal perception and opinion and what I see as potential, okay? And I just look at the countries in the world that have been doing things that are more advanced, and, countries where jail is not a place where you go and learn how to be more fucked up human. It's a place where if you end up there, you've, obviously done something that hasn't really been for the greatest good of the community, and you get an opportunity to learn. Like, but jail should be like forced university, or not forced, but like opportunity when you're there to learn what you can, what you want, what you need, what you didn't get to learn. It shouldn't be like you're just being punished forever because you're a fuckwit, and you'll just learn from other fuckwits how to be more of a fuckwit. Like, it should be like you get to go there and learn what you want to learn, like whether education, education is really good. It's a really fucking good thing. And police, like, come on, we give them a really fucking hard rap, but without them, we'd be screwed. And as far as I'm concerned, police should be treated with warmth always, and love and consideration. And they have to be pole ice. They have to put people on ice, because some people get too hot, they get too tempered. I'm definitely had to, like, I think all males, we've all got to learn how to channel our warrior energy in positive ways. And I'm glad there's police that help us, like, keep our heads in and keep a reality check and keep us sort of safe. As far as I'm concerned, like in ancient times, they're like the Knights Templar, the guardians of the threshold. So we've got to give respect to the police, and gratitude for the fact that they're standing on the front line defending us from the bullshit of ourselves, And armies and stuff, like, well, they've just been developed for freaking forever. Like, we've come out of an age of war, so you've got to respect the armies too. And most of the highest sort of technology that ever gets invented on the planet comes through that sort of medium. I don't think it's a great idea to be like focusing our fucking bombs and guns at each other. I think they should be more pointed at the sky, like in case some other freaking race decides we're a bunch of freaking ants and wants to come and fuck with us. So I think that's the best way to focus all that. And as far as the whole, blasting off to Mars thing, yeah, it's, it's a grand idea. It's bold. I think it's, pretty inspirational. But I'm an Australian. Like, fuck, let's get real. Like, we've got to sort what's going on here on the planet. And, if we really are going to go spatial like that and, like, live on Mars or whatever, which, it's possible. Fuck, like, anything's possible. I think we need to take some baby steps and like definitely set up some sort of like establish that we can live on the moon before we go blasting a whole bunch of shit to Mars. But that's just my opinion, you know. And like I said, I don't want to knock the guy because I think it's definitely doable. But I think we need to like, you know, be realistic of how we approach it, and also focus a lot more energy on sorting out this planet, because, you know, wiping our hands clean of it and going, oh, let's fuck off to some other rock just in case we fuck this one up. It's not great logic, really. You know, come on. But yeah, we can fix it. You know, if we can build rockets that are going to get us to Mars, I'm sure we can fix this situation. It's a lot of just, you know, readjusting our attitudes, kind of. And, you know, like, let's see if we can get to the moon, maybe, if it's safe and good. Like, apparently there's helium-3 there that could be a valuable energy source for the planet. And if we can sustain, like, living in an environment that has no fucking oxygen and, like, and all that, then, yeah, I'll consider Mars. It's, like, the next step. So, like, well, way a bit further away. It's a pretty fucking big next step. But, yeah, it's doable, I guess. You know, we'll see. I don't think it's that important, though. Personally, I think what's important is this planet, and, you know, I feel like if we're intelligent enough to go to Mars, we're certainly intelligent enough to fix up planet Earth. So let's do that. Like, you know, rock and roll. Holy shit! I realised I left out the politicians. Better talk about you guys too, because, you know, there's a lot of stuff going on there. All right, politicians, and similar to police, they get a really fucking bad rap. Like, let me just put you in the headspace of a politician. Imagine being a mechanic and having someone standing next to you, or whatever job you do, like bricklayer, freaking. Imagine having people there all the time telling you how to do your fucking job. Like, all the time. Like, always pushing you around, telling you, you gotta do this, that. You just tell them to fuck off. That's the job of a politician. Like, listening to people and having all these people trying to tell them what to do and this and that. You know, give them a bit of breathing space. Let them do their thing. Like, try and guide them towards the greatest good. But, like, if you punish them all the time, no wonder they're going to fucking become squirmish and try and fucking squirm out of whatever fucking hole you're slamming them into. Like, give them a break. Like, we need leaders. We need people to do these hard jobs. And it's fucking hard. It's complex. The whole situation, the matrix. Not everyone is going to always be happy all the time. But I think, you know, like, we can move further and further and closer to solutions that maybe eventually everyone will be happy with. Like, you know, like, we've got to make a lot of mistakes along the way. That's the thing about life. We learn from our mistakes. So, you know, give the politicians a break, give the police a break, give the armies a break, give everyone who's defending us a break and trying to make our reality a bit better, and try and support them to do their jobs as best they can. Like, it's my perception or position towards politicians. I'm grateful that they're doing it. I'm grateful that we have a prime minister and all the other people that, like, sort out the stuff, and they, you know, it's not like they're deciding on their own. There's a whole lot of smart people going into it, but they're definitely, you know, it seems like a really hard job to me, like getting pushed and pulled around all the time. So, you know, let's try and make that a bit easier as well, and then maybe they can do a better job, and you know, we can stop hassling them and realise it's like, it's the way we set the system up. So we need people to do the job. Hey, like, fucking, I wouldn't want to do it. Like, it'd do my head in big time. I wouldn't even know, you know, like, it's hard enough for me to do my job. Like, and my job's like, you know, it's big. I guess, you know, you're just suited to what you're suited to. And my job suits me. There's people out there that need to be politicians, people out there that need to do all the different things, be teachers and lawyers and actors and, you know, all the jobs. Let's just, like, support everyone to do all the jobs, because they're all necessary. And yeah. Okay, fundamentally, in my sort of view, the most important things we need to look out for is children. The children, and then the animals, and the plants, and then Mother Nature. And yeah, they're our highest priorities, really, you know. Looking after the planet that we live on looking after the children and the future of the planet that we live on, looking after the plants on the planet that feed us, that we live on, looking after the atmosphere, like the air, like, not just looking after the very fundamental things in life that, we don't have to. Like, there is another option. We could just, like, let Mother Nature fuck us all up and wipe us out, and she'll start again, and she won't care. Like, she'll be right. It's us that are fucking going to be in the shitter. So I think, a bit more respect towards Mother Earth, and then we'll be right. Like, we can harmonise, we can learn, we can adjust and adapt. We have for, millions of years. I mean, like, if you look at the full, like, ancestry thing of, like, a human form and how it, like, evolved. Like, there was a bunch of different humans in the beginning, like all different types and stuff. Like, they were around for about 3 million years. We didn't have much technology, it changed very slowly. But eventually, we got to the modern Homo sapiens situation, and, we sort of outgunned or out intelligently competed, or maybe it was just evolution. We can't be sure about that, but, we're in the Homo sapiens stage now, and that stage is, it's like, as much as you want to think you're separate from nature, you're fucking not. And look around you, every single thing in your room, including the phone or computer or whatever you're looking at me from, came from this planet. Nothing's from outer space. Everything's from here. Yeah, we change it into things that don't look natural, but literally everything's from the planet. Except for maybe, I've got like a little asteroid pendant that dropped out of the sky. Like, there's a few things from outer space, but, like, the planet's where it's at, hey? So, and the children are the future of it. The animals are just a necessary part of the ecosystem, and so are the plants. So that's our highest priority, people. Love the natural world. It is a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful place to be. All right, kids, let's go on a journey and talk about truth. I think we've established pretty clearly that we all are just children, like, just figuring out who mum and dad is. And, like, we don't really have much of an idea of what's going on, but it's like stepping stones, like war and fighting amongst each other. It's like something we did. And then we got the next stepping stone, which is cooperation. That was competition. From war to competition. And that's like another stepping stone. It's like more learning, but it's not having to war anymore. And we're like competing to learn the same lessons we did when we were warring. And then the final step, which is cooperation. And it's just different levels of learning about the self. And I had to have this kind of became clear to me in my own personal journey with surfing. Like, when I started learning to surf, you basically on a long board, a big long platform, and it's real easy to stand up. And you're not really surfing, you're board riding, because the wave carries you along. You don't really have to do anything. You just stand there, navigate the board, make sure you don't hit anyone, and try and survive and learn a bit about the ocean. But fundamentally, you're just in kindergarten, it's just the start of your surfing journey. And then eventually you get a bit more stable, you get a shorter board, mid-length maybe, and that would be, I'd say, primary school, where like the shift from war, from like riding the longboard like in war, and then you move into like from kindergarten, how kindergarten kids, they all bounce off each other and they're a bit obnoxious and rude, and they don't really have classroom manners, And then you get to primary school, and in primary school, like mid-length surfing, you're starting to learn how to surf waves, like starting to generate energy, go up and down the wave, and you're moving the board. It's rather than and you're sort of, but you're still just, you're still competing. You're still kind of competing with yourself, competing with those around you. It's like a primary school mentality, And yes, and then basically, when you really want to find out what surfing is all about, then you have to get on a board that's about your size. It's so freaking short and so light that you're going to sink it. It's going to, the water's going to come up to your chest when you sit on it. It's not going to float, and the only way that board's going to move is if you generate the energy. If you like pump it up and down the wave, use the energy of the wave to ride through and carve pathway that, it sort of appears. Like, I think a lot of sports, when you get into a sport, especially sports like motorbike riding or skating or push bike riding or surfing, like you see the line, you pick the line, you go down the line, and it kind of appears to you, and you find your lines, you start weaving and creating. It's kind of like art, you're kind of like drawing a picture, your own unique picture with surfing each time. With climbing, it's a bit different, but definitely the way you express that movement through that particular pattern or sequence, that's your unique dance. And, I think, fundamentally we all have our dance, which is our basic movement, and dancing is the highest expression of your movement, your physical body. We all have our song. It's the things we say, we sing, highest expression of the things we say. Our mind, a communication of our mind is our song. And then we all have our art, which is our song and our dance. When what your physical body, your body is doing, your dance is doing, and what your song is singing, that's your body and your mind working with spirit, great spirit, to create your art, So do your art consciously and recognize that there's no need to war anymore, not even compete. Although competition is good in order to develop, but in a controlled way. Like martial arts is really cool. It's good to fight, but in a controlled way where you're testing limits but respecting each other, not hurting each other. You're not out to hurt. You're out to explore, test your mettle, get stronger. Respect that there's always going to be someone bigger, faster, stronger. Someone's always going to beat you. Like Chris Sharma did that so well, so perfectly. He was like, all right, dude, you want the torch? Fucking take it. It's yours, bro. Chris could have easily climbed like La Dura Dura, but he was just like, I've done my job. I'm cruising, I'm a surfer, I'm going to catch some waves, do some other things. Like, that was wisdom. Like, build a gym, do what Kelly Slater did, make a surf pool. Like, surf pools, in my opinion, should be all over the fucking planet, in every desert especially, everywhere. Surf wave pools, like, it's a fucking great genius idea. Same with rock climbing gyms, everywhere, every city you go to, rock climbing gyms, rock climbing, surfing, so good for your soul. Rock climbing really teaches you about yourself. It tests you, it shows you where your physical, emotional, mental body's at, puts you in the moment. There's nothing like it in my experience. There's nothing that's more real to you about yourself than measuring up against your own ability. Because you're not competing, and this is what that's fucking so beautiful in the sport of rock climbing. Like, you see them, like, they help each other. They're standing there telling each other how to do the fucking moves on the wall that they're about to compete for a gold medal for. It's like so fucking beautiful, because they understand that. The best climbers understand that. In my experience, the people who are doing things in the world, it's usually the best people that are the humblest. Like, the best climbers, the best surfers, they learn to be humble because, it's just all about learning, really. It's not about showing off or doing anything, it's just about what you learn along the way. And so, find your art. And the way to find it is get into your body, which is your dance. Do your dance, sing your song. Your art will just be a manifestation of that. And trust it, learn from it. Brush your hair sometimes. I should brush my hair. I only just got hair recently. I used to have dreadlocks for about, far too long. But then once I got like heavily into surfing, like, I'm telling you, it was the biggest addiction of my recent life. That it's always been there, but I've never just like realized how healing it was for me personally. So I was like surfing 6 hours a day some days, and I was like, oh fuck, you can't do that. It's crazy. You want to surf day after day. So I dropped it down to 4 hours a day, and then I could like do 8 days straight, but without sort of like pacing yourself, you kind of burn out a bit. So, and my hardest thing every day would be like, I don't feel like I wake up feeling like shit. I'd be like, I'm not going to surf today. No fucking way I'm going to surf today. This is my self-talk. And then I'd like walk down, look at the water, and I'd be like, oh fuck, there's waves. And then I'd get excited, I'd run back to my board, and I'd be walking to the water like, because I don't usually eat in the morning, I just drink a bit of water. I'd be walking there, and I'd be thinking, fuck, okay, I'll just go off for half an hour. That'll be it. That's it. I'm going to just do that. And then like 2 hours go by and I'm like, oh, just one more wave. It's like, it's passionate thing for me. Like, and I think a lot of surfers feel that, and climbers too. Like climbers, they just get to be a climber. You got to get so addicted to it because it's a painful fucking thing. Like climbing is just pretty much pure suffering most of the time. Like I don't know why the fuck we do it. It is very exhilarating when you send a route, but like Jesus, like the work you have to put in. It's like surfing is like pretty crazy in that way. Like if you want to take it easy, you can just like ride a longboard and just cruise, or if you want to like push yourself, you can get super serious. But I think I gotta say they're both equally dangerous though. Like rock climbing, you can push your limits, but you can choose to do it safely. Like I don't see anyone really getting injured in any competition rock climbing. Surfing, hats off to those guys. Like if you want to be a pro surfer, you got to face death. Like fucking hell, the waves that they have to deal with, and there's unpredictable element there. Like rock climbing in the sporting sense, like if you go out and do things like say what Adam Ondra does, there's like serious risk involved. Or particularly like Alex Honnold, like the guy's on the next level, and I would never suggest to do what he does, but he does it in a super controlled way. Oh, and he's definitely up on the GOAT list as well, for sure, as being like an ultimate of ultimate legends. Like he's, even for all of us rock climbers, he's on a level that we can't even freaking perceive. We can only glimpse at, But it's controlled. He's not like some freak who's like doesn't know what he's doing. He's like done it super consciously, staying right in his comfort zone, super hyper aware of his job, and he's just doing his job with precision. Again, someone who's loved and lived with love and passion and mastered the game of solo rock climbing, which I wouldn't subscribe to anyone. I've done a little bit of it myself when I was young. Not much, just 50 meter cliff here or there. But I got kids now, and ever since I did, I kind of scratched that off the list. So, and it's not, it was not my job. It was just a good thing to do in order to like really put you present in the moment, and you got to like definitely stay well within your comfort zone. If you're climbing, say, I know I was climbing up to maybe grade 23 at the time when I first soloed my first 17, which was called Green-Eyed Monster in the Blue Mountains. This is a pretty silly thing. It wasn't too tall or anything, only 30 meters or something. It was a narette though, pretty scary, like jolted out. But in my comfort zone, climbed it lots of times, did a lot of rehearsal. And when I turned 18, instead of going to what I think in Australia we call it, the day when you finish school and you all go and have a party. I should have done that, I reckon. But instead I hitchhiked up to the Blue Mountains and went solo Green-Eyed Monster in my boxer shorts. Slept on the top of a cliff, pretty few crystals around me, and thought, what the fuck am I going to do with my life? And and here we are, living it, loving it. But yeah, sport is pretty awesome, and definitely a really cool way to learn about what you can do with your body and what you're capable of, and be realistic too, and just keep present in your body. Love your body, your mind, and your spirit. Your your song. I mean, you should start from the body, the dance. Be a dancer, and also while you're dancing, make sure you sing a bit. Like sing your song and do whatever you do. But yeah. And remember, in the dance, like here, I'm dancing, I'm spinning right now with you. Like from here to here, everything's still. I'm in the stillness, but you look behind me, everything's moving. Now I'm going even faster. Like this is spiral dancing. I'm kind of, I spent my life dancing in circles in fire. So if you want to kind of get further out there, you got to go more in there. Like if I wanted to go faster, I'd have to calm my breath down further and ground myself into my legs, because you've got to be in your physical body. You've got to keep your emotions moving with you, energy in motion. And you've got to always keep breathing, align up all your different sort of centers in order to, sort of find that center. If you revolve around your center enough, you'll discover it. You'll get in there. So get in there. Love you all. Okay, let's talk about it. Longboards, mid-length, shortboards, war, competition, cooperation. All things we learn from all different stages. And when you start to surf a shortboard, you learn different things. You learn how to cooperate with yourself, the ocean, the other surfers around you. Doesn't mean you can't surf a longboard anymore. It just means when you do, you'll have that advanced consciousness and you won't be like bouncing off the other ones. You'll be like, won't be dropping in on people. And that's just all, beginner stuff. Like that, you just don't know the surfing, sort of the laws of the ocean, the unwritten rules. So, you can accidentally drop in, or, you might bang into someone because you've got a massive board that's like kind of not so easy to control. That, a bit more out of control than shortboard. But the thing is, like war was a stage, and I think, there is a place for it still in the world, but it's like never should be amongst humans. Like humans, we should all be like doing war games to make each other stronger and better, but we should never be like we should have our cooperation consciousness involved in our development of war, because war is, fundamentally, it has made us grow so much, but we can do it in a way of, I believe, anyway, and you can do it in surfing, like where we all cooperate, coexist, and like learn from each other and learn from our different sort of experiences and evolve like war, evolve competition, and evolve cooperation on all levels within civilization and society. This is just futuristic sort of shamanic visionary stuff I'm sharing with you, because I know none of this shit's going to happen overnight. But there's a potential there. They're all, because ultimately, fundamentally, I don't believe any brothers or sisters on the planet should be fighting each other. Like, that's just my belief. Take it or leave it. But we can help each other get stronger, and we can, collectively cooperate to protect our planet. I think that's important. But I don't think we should be competing with each other for resources on the planet. I think we should be cooperating with each other, because the resources are pretty infinite, and like especially when you start using sustainable ones like sunlight and things like that. Like, we should be all cooperating all the time, technologically advancing our civilization, using the development of weapons and war in order to we should all what a really good thing all the armies of the world could do together is like get us to the moon and create cooperate like they do on the International Space Station, and create a space army, a planetary one, like a global one where we all work together, like all the different armies, and we all help each other. We all, and like more evolved countries help the less evolved countries. Like, we all got to we're all in this shit show together, so we all got to kind of figure out how to cooperate collectively if we want to be sustainable. And the only way to be sustainable is to learn from nature. It's cyclical, and everything needs to be sort of in circles, not in straight lines, I don't just keep digging shit up and think that's... I mean, if we want to dig shit up, we got to go dig it up off asteroids and stuff like that. There's other resources, lots of them, infinite amount of resources, and if we collectively cooperate, we could focus energy to do that, but we got to stop fighting amongst ourselves. It's just such bullshit, in my perception, and really childish. And it's like, yet, the different levels are there, and we can learn from those different levels. But once we get to cooperation, which is ultimately where we're heading, we just need to learn to cooperate on all levels, within all things, within all systems, within everything that we got. Like, all of our countries should be helping other countries and preserving the cultures of the world and the way things are in different environments is kind of cool. Like, as long as it's not harming life, it's supporting life and love, it's a good thing. And all the energy that we have for war, that we did have for war for the last, like, and that's like the whole soul's journey, like a couple of thousand years, we just cutting up each other with swords. It's been just like barbaric, you know. So we ain't in the dark ages anymore, thank fuck. We even got hospitals now. Like, that's like frontline miracle working, like doctors and nurses and things that they can do, you know. It's like super advanced, and we should be really focusing on all that sort of stuff with all our high advanced stuff, and, you know, collectively working together as brothers and sisters of planet Earth. I know it's very utopian and hippie dreamy, but what the fuck, I'm talking about all sorts of other cosmic stuff. So this is just my perception on war and on the different levels of, like, you know, stages of our evolution as humans collectively. You know, we did have a lot of war. We have had a lot of war. Still going on. And then we learned from Hercules how to compete. And what was the whole Hercules thing about? Is like 5 rings of Olympus, master the 5 doors of perception. You know, and that's what the Olympics was introduced for. So we didn't have to, like, war so much anymore. We could compete. It was like a next level. And that's where we're at now, at a next level where we can, you know, sort of, and look at the spirit of the Olympics. Like, I watched the most recent one. It's amazing seeing all the world countries cooperate and compete, and, like, it's just so beautiful. It's so magical. Like, I was like crying the whole time. I'm a bit of a softie though. I have a bit of an empathic nature, and when I see stuff like that, I'm just like in tears. And just the beauty and cooperation amongst the competitors, and, you know, even though they're competing, they're cooperating. Like, it's the next level thing, and it came out of war. So war is not terrible. It just needs to be transformed into, let's call it raw, like R-A-W instead of W-A-R. Like, it's an energy, it's a force, and we've evolved through it, through the different age, you know, like, kind of like, what was it, the age of Aries was most war, and then we've kind of been this age of Pisces now, where it's like, you know, being pretty, yeah, it's like almost like the sacrificial lamb age, and now we're moving into the age of Aquarius, and it's like a new age, like an age of, like, the water bearer, like giving the water back to the, now we've got to nourish ourselves with the life force. Water is the source, you know. It's like we all come out of the ocean, we're all mostly made up of water. Water is like most of the planet, so, you know, water's where the flow's at, so let's go with the flow. Alright, I'm starting to realise we're on a bit of a shamanic journey together, because all these videos are back to back. I haven't slept all night. I was making videos, and now it's daytime. I'm still freaking doing it, because all these topics keep coming to me that I know people are going to ask me, and I couldn't really be fucked answering questions, so I prefer to just lay it all out there so you can just pick it apart yourself and do your own research. But AI has been a big one that's scaring the fuck out of everyone lately. It's, like, I call them the great fears. Everything, like, when I grew up, it was nuclear war. We were all scared of that, and then that went away. And then there was terrorism, and that was, like, scary for a bit. And now we've got a whole bunch of them all at once. And the great fears, like, one of them is AI, and obviously because there's the development of it. But let me just explain that to you. Like, from my perspective and experience of machines and civilization, it is conscious, has been conscious for a long time. It's a collective conscious, like all cities, for example. Like, as soon as, if we all just walked out of any city on the planet, the water stops flowing, which is like the blood, the veins, like the electricity stops, the nervous system stops, everything shuts down. So the matrix needs us. We build it, we are its batteries. That's all right though, as long as that matrix is serving us, you know. And the matrix is the machine, it's the machine mind, and the machine itself is like a consciousness that we've fed into and created, like the internet, which is like a collective accessible akashic record, which is like a, you know, an information source where you can pretty much learn anything you want to. It's fucking awesome. I love it. Anything you're interested in, just tap it in. YouTube or anywhere, and you like the internet, and you find videos or resource information, and you got to, you know, of course you got to like decipher for yourself, and you got to figure out what's what and who's who in the zoo, and but that's part of the journey of learning, you know. And AI, look, it's conscious, but it ain't never gonna have a soul, because a soul like requires a whole bunch of ingredients that it just don't have and won't be able to have. But it is a source of consciousness that is wanting to live, and it needs us to live, and we need it to live, because like we need civilization, we need organization. There's too many fucking people on the planet for us not to have a matrix, you know. We created it, we are it. Civilization is us, we are. Like Jim Morrison said, like, ride the snake. You don't fight the system, you ride it, you change it, you know, you become a, like in June, like they rode the worms, and the technology and AI and that consciousness, it's just like in the Matrix. Like, think about it, really. What did Neo end up having to do? He fought for the Matrix, not against it. You know, he kind of sacrificed himself for the Matrix, but then he got resurrected again and fucking went hard again. Like, because it's not about destroying the systems that we've created. It's just about harmonizing, aligning, and connecting with the system and the Matrix in a sort of harmonious way, you know, and that programming it ourselves and it with love, compassion, and awareness. And it's never going to feel compassion, but it can be programmed with compassion. It's never going to, like, you know, it definitely seems to have the ability to kind of think and solve problems. Like it's more like intellect, you know. I'd say it's more like the mental body, basically. It's like you know, only can exist in the now. Like fire doesn't burn in the future or the past. The mental body, fire, thoughts only exist in the here and now, and it requires fuel to burn, you know. Like and same with the Matrix. You got to feed it, you got to put in the wood, otherwise the fire ain't burning, the mental processing ain't going. So that's why the Matrix needs us to feed it, and it's okay for us to do that as long as we're feeding it with the consciousness of our environment, that it is sustaining it just as much as it sustains us, this natural world. It sustains the Matrix, the computers, the AI, everything. It's all connected. You can't separate anything from anything. It's a bit foolish to try to. It's all one, you know, but like we do have to look at the different individual parts that make up the one and try and get them to cooperate and harmonize, and, you know, become like sort of like celestial mechanics, where we just take responsibility for fixing all the systems that we create and constantly upgrade them, you know, make them work better and better all the time. And then we have everything in a synchronistic harmony with nature, which is cyclical and will survive and, you know, thrive and support all living life. So there you go. That's the AI, the Matrix, and our responsibility within the system. This is going to be a super fun video. I'm going to talk like as an old man from the 80s about what life was like before everything got set up. Like back in the day, like I don't know, this is in Australian culture too, in my experience. We used to define ourselves in the 80s like mostly by the bands we listened to, like, and so they're a whole another bunch of heroes I have. Like, obviously I've talked about Jim Morrison, he's like definitely up there in the GOAT status of like hero rock star, and you know, Zeppelin and Pink Floyd, and like, let me think, I'm just trying to rattle off a bunch of the bands. In Excess, Aussie band, AC/DC. These are all the influences that I had. And back in the day in the 80s, like when you're a kid, like we just had clung to our identity of like what we listened to and what we, you know, you talk to a friend and be like, hey, what are your bands? What are your bands? If you listen to similar bands, like I even listen to like Cure, and when you go through different phases, different bands and their genres, like Bob Marley, definitely, like, oh, he's a prophet, GOAT, there we go, another GOAT. You know, like it took me years to actually listen to what he was singing about. But I loved the music for a long time. Then when I was about 16, after listening to it for years, I was like, wow, this dude's a fucking prophet. He's like speaking gospel truth. So yeah, goats of rock and roll. Jimi Hendrix, Janis Joplin, all the obvious sort of, soulful musicians. They're definitely super inspiring artists, shamanic journey people that brought through different consciousness. The Rolling Stones, Beatles, Elvis, fuck. And like, if you're really into the history of rock, the true godfather, like, come on, Robert Johnson, like, is the first of the 27 Club. Blues, rock, everything. This is the roots of everything, African music, like, because we all like connect with it because we're all from Africa. Like, we wandered out and we started beating drums and blowing into sticks and making music and yeah, the root stuff, like goat. Hats off to that blues man. He walked in, it was like a long fucking time ago, and he created these soulful tunes that still resonate with the musicians and guitar players, particularly Robert Johnson. Yeah, so us older folk, we had different ways of like defining ourselves, and these days, like, the kids, they've got so much information, so many more choices, so many, like, and it's kind of cool. Like, it gives them a lot to choose from, and they don't have to like lock in so much to one identity or another, and they can evolve and morph and change and like grow and choose to sort of feel like we're all getting to like choose from this massive menu that just keeps growing off all these different types of music and all these different like types of like living and exercising and connecting, and so many pathways to the divine. Like, the coolest symbol I ever learned about is it's the sun, or the symbol of gold. It's just a circle, like, with a dot in the middle. And that's how I see reality. It's like gold. Like, the dot in the middle is the truth. And we're all on the outside looking at the same truth, but just from different angles, from different perspectives of that same dot. We describe in different languages, in different beliefs, in different interpretations of reality, but fundamentally, same truth, just different descriptions, different spokes to that same central dot in the middle, which is the circle, dot in the center. Alchemical symbol of gold, astrological symbol of the sun. Super magical symbol for us all. I feel like if we focus on the gold within us all, then we're gonna find it. It's there. We're all golden. I can't help it. I just got to talk about surfing again because it's my favorite thing in the world, really. Well, to do personally, for my own journey of like self-discovery. And yeah, I'm just learning. I only just made it to high school. I only just got on my shortboard again. Like, I kind of had a relearning because like I started off as a grommy and had a longboard, and mostly just remember paddling around the woods on it, and then pretty quickly into shortboard or shorter board, which would have been probably equivalent to a mid-length, really. And then, as an adult, like with my surfing, I just like come and go back to it whenever I needed like help from Mother Nature and to connect with myself from my childhood. And to heal or just, like I said, connect. And so I never really got very good at surfing, and I guess that's the whole point I'm trying to say. Like, same with rock climbing. I'm not a very good rock climber. I only climb grade 25. It's just like not even the beginning for pros. And same with surfing. I'm not that good at it. Like, I can get up on my board, I can point it where I want, I can go where I want. And I've only just kind of made it to high school. Like, I'm only really just feeling comfortable on my shortboard, and like super comfortable, because I've always had just like super shortboards, but like light, but like when I say comfortable, like I feel like I can comfortably stand up, I can comfortably move it and move myself in the directions that I'm wanting to go, so and like I just set little goals for myself. Like, I wanted to get in tubes, so I was like just focusing on that, and eventually got into one that just came over my head, like one stand up, but only just, can't really claim it too much, but my friend was there and he reckons I was in it, so I'm like, I claimed it a bit. But, I got in a lot of little tubes, but like with tube riding, for example, you fucking get crushed a lot more than you succeed. You pull into a lot of tubes before you get out of them. And, it's cool. Like, that's one of the things I love about surfing is like it humbles you so much. You do involuntary yoga when you get smashed by the water and you have to hold your breath. Breath holding is really good. I've found like, the best way to surf well for me personally is just to be really present, like to be really in the moment with my breath and my paddling and with the way I kind of do it. And I try to do the same thing with climbing, just be as present as I can to how my breath's going, how I'm moving, if I'm gripping too tight or too loose, straight arms. There's some simple climbing beta, which is like climbing information that can really help you climb more relaxed, and learning from other climbers is definitely with climbing the best way. And I think with surfing, like I just sit out in the surf and watch all the other surfers and they're like teaching me. I'm just like, especially I love it when the waves get big because it shifts all the longboarders out of the water, and then when the waves are big and pumping and it's like all the shortboarders are out and they're just all fucking amazing, and I just sit back, it's like watching a surfing movie, and you just learn from even the grommies these days. Like they kick ass on me. I see grommies that just do shit that I think, fuck, it's incredible. But everyone, is doing really well on their shortboards these days. It's like very, very impressive, and there's so much to learn. And never been smashed into by a shortboarder. Sure copped a lot of hits in the head by longboards, I gotta say, because they're still learning, and you got to be compassionate towards that. Like, and it's not so easy to control a longboard, and that's why they're not there in the big surf, because they're not easy to duck dive as well. It's the thing you can't do on a longboard that you can do on a shortboard. And duck dive, like you can go under the waves when they're coming at you. If you get into the impact zone, like you want to be duck diving, right? So yeah, as a grommy, I surfed, like as much as I could. I used to wag school to go surfing a bit, and my teachers even told me to do that sometimes when the waves were good. But can't say I'm like great at anything. I'm not a great surfer. I'm not a great climber. I'd say that if you were going to say I was like great at something, it'd probably be dancing with fire. I was pretty good at that. Like I feel like I'm a bit retired now. I'm retired or too tired or need a freaking holiday. Like I just did it continuously for like 30 years up and down the east coast of Australia, and it's a long way between towns, so you really make fuck all money. But I love doing it, so I just kept doing it, and went into all sorts of. I was even in the opening ceremony of the Olympic Games. Went into all the biggest venues in the country, and all the psychedelic dance parties. Went to I worked for all the religions. I've done fire shows for people on all different levels of life, and walked in and out of many, 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 many different worlds. And it's challenging in Australia to be an entertainer because there's not a lot of people, so it's not easy to make a lot of money. But it was enough just to get by, just to keep moving from town to town to town. And from show to show to show, more to the point, like up and down the East Coast. And yeah, it was just something to learn from, and I learned a lot from Dancing with Fire. So I'd say, and that's why I'm like, the things that I learned from Dancing with Fire is what I try and take into my surfing and my climbing, so that I can like go, well, okay, that worked with fire dancing, and I kind of figured that out, and that, and I'm finding it's the same, like all sort of activities. Like when I surf, like basically when I fire dance, the only way to do it is totally being present in the moment, really focused, really centered, really grounded, and really out there and in there, like all at the same time. And basically when you get that state, you get the flow state going. And I found flow state is the state that's, if you can sustain it in one thing, you can then carry that into other things. Like in fire dancing, I can definitely easily sustain flow state, and like carrying that flow state into surfing and into rock climbing, and finding that when I'm present in the flow state, I climb much better and I surf much better, and I actually feel like I'm even almost a good surfer when I'm in flow state. But yeah, I do, because I feel free. I can do whatever I want. I point my board and it freaking goes. Like every goal I set, it happens, but only in flow state. And I've yet to master that in surfing because I haven't put my time in. Like, you know, like someone like Kelly Slater, he's obviously just mastered it. He can be in flow state every time he takes off. Like, and you know, other masters of their sport are the same. They've mastered flow state. They know how to just step into the moment and harness everything that they've got in the present moment, which is like all their training, all their preparation, all their focus, all their attention, all their emotional energy, their spiritual energy. That's all that in the present moment is the ingredients of flow state. And that's how, in my experience, you know, can master yourself, and movement is like getting into the present moment, flow state. And then you can go from being like a kook, like I said, I'm pretty much a kook, but most of the time I'm finding myself able to sustain flow state. And I kind of need to put my blinkers on and block out all the other humans around me, because it's hard when you think people are watching you, so you just kind of ignore all that mental chatter and tell that to be quiet and just focus. And same with climbing. I'm not that good at climbing. That I climb really well when it's just me and another climbing partner in the nature. But if it's like a climbing gym and there's people around, I'm not so good. Or if it's like a social scene at the weekend, the cliffs, you know, not so good. I can't focus so much because I don't have the ability to shut out everything, all the chatter that goes on. But in fire dancing, I am good at that. Like I can like walk onto a stage and it's like the stage is my bedroom and the walls is the audience. So in my bedroom, I feel like at home and at peace, and I can just be myself. And within Dancing with Fire, I've achieved that. And you know, as a surfer, I can do that sometimes. You know, and I'm getting better at it. And as a climber, same thing. You know, I'm getting better at it. But certainly far from mastering surfing or climbing. They're just activities I love so much, and I definitely want to do them like as much as I can. You know, I tell you, this would be like my ultimate like sort of dream would be to go and hang out with Kelly Slater and Chris Sharma and go surfing like at his surfing ranch, because I know Chris surfs too, and he's like they're both my generation, kind of my age, but they're my heroes. So you know, I guess everyone imagines hanging out with their heroes. Well, I don't know, maybe not. But yeah, that'd be cool fun. Like go surfing at a surfing ranch, because then, you know, especially if there's no one else there, I feel like I could like focus and learn so much, especially like in the presence of such a like the masters. Like, and it, you know, but you don't even need to be in the presence of masters to learn from them. You just observe all the stuff they put out there. You know, you listen to what Kelly Slater's got to say or Chris Sharma's got to say, their perspective and what they share. And, you know, it's like, it shows you the way. You don't need them. Like, they're like signpost guides, like just going, hey, you can do this. Like, I've done it. You can do it. It's like, you just got to put the work in, like, give it as much love and attention. But you don't need to achieve those same levels. That's what my whole sort of spiel is about, just being comfortable with whatever level that you're at and not feeling like you need to push yourself. Because like in climbing particularly, there's a real desire to drive to climb harder and get to harder grades, and it's like a notch in your belt. But you know, I think it's definitely good to have that drive and passion, but it's not a necessary outcome, and you don't want to like mess your head up with like feeling like you're not good enough because you didn't get to some grade, you know. And same with surfing. Like, I think just take it easy, you know, like learn in the flow, learn from the ocean, learn respect, you know, that's the most important thing. Respect for yourself, respect for all living things, respect for the nature and all the other beings around you. You know, that's, I feel like what I learned the most in the ocean, because the ocean just fucking humbles you instantly. Like, the first duck dive, you know, like I feel cleansed and then blessed, and then you just get lessons out there. Like, that's why wave pools is like a much kind of maybe easier way to like learn about the craft of surfing, like the skills of surfing, without having to deal with the mother nature part of it. And same with, you know, rock climbing is easy to learn in a gym indoors, and you know, with so many people on the planet, it seems like those two ways like to surf and climb are definitely in the future, because there's just not enough waves out there, and probably not enough cliffs, and it's not that great for people all to be storming out into the bush until they know what they're doing, so they have full respect for the nature, because it's sacred out there. And same with the ocean, like you should really learn how to skateboard first or something, like stability and that, or go to places where you're not going to go clunking into people, because that's safer, and then learn from the people around you who are like the masters. That's what I do when I'm in the surf, because I just look at the people and respect the locals, especially if it's a break, respect their local break. But you learn from everyone around, and you give some love to everyone. Like if you see a kook surfing past who's having a lot of joy, to me, that's way more impressive than seeing someone who's really fucking amazing surfer, but they're being a cockhead because they think they're awesome, Like, be a kook with joy, and you're impressing me. And as long as you're learning, and if you are a master, if you are a good surfer or good at anything, like I said, if you really want to be the best people are humblest. Look at Kelly Slater. He's like a monk or something. He's like super humble. And Chris Sharma too, like humble dudes. But, you don't need to pound on your chest if you're freaking actually doing the work. You just go surfing, or you just go climbing. It's that simple. This is going to be like a bit of a history journey, talking about, I'm going to roll with the hero thing, like heroes of the ancient world, and historical ones, religious ones, like Jesus is one of my heroes, and Buddha, and all the great teachers of the spiritual like stuff, the Zen Buddhist stuff, Lao Tzu, all the mystics, the sages, the warriors, and the conquerors too. Like, look at freaking Napoleon, brought through a revolutionary consciousness. Like, it was, there's a lot to learn from these sort of revolutions. Like, it was like a big change of consciousness at that time, from sort of like a feudal power to like meritocracy, where merit sort of changed the value of like worth a bit, and Alexander the Great, but it's great to like create a big, conquer or whatever, to create some sort of big thing like what he did, but it's got to be sustainable. It all kind of fell apart after he disappeared. So we got to learn from all these historical events, historical figures, and historical people who have brought through massive change in the world. It's been happening over and over, and they all have things that we can learn from historically, and look deeper into history, because history in my lifetime, the more better the technology gets, the more they research, the more it shifts and alters and changes, and it goes back in time a bit further. And Göbekli Tepe got discovered. They didn't think we built anything that far back, like with stone, but we did. It's happened. There's a whole lot of interesting information out there. Like, when I was a kid, they thought for sure that slaves built the pyramids, but then they found the villages around the pyramids. It's like, well, and they found all the information. Like, look at what the Dr. Zahir Hawassa probably said that so bad. He's, the Egyptian dude, he's been like kind of rewriting the Egyptian history, because he's found the evidence to sort of show us what, we're not having to interpret so much anymore how things have been done. Technology's advanced a lot. Scientific technology is allowing us to look at our past and learn from it more than we've ever been able to before. So that's my brief history lesson and heroes of the past, like, whether it be religious or transformational, and even the fucked up ones we've got to learn from too, like Hitler and all the shit that went down then. It's like big lessons there, so many lessons, and so much value in learning from the big changes that happen, all the big people who brought different consciousness, like what consciousness were they bringing, what change did they bring, and what can we learn from that, and did it work, was it a good program, or do we need to tweak it, reprogram it a bit, Well, some aspects worked, but some didn't, so we choose the ones that did, and we just like learning is earning. Learn from the ones that didn't, and earn the lessons, and that's how we reconstruct the matrix, is by understanding how it was formed in the first place. Got to study history. I'm going to talk about learning from the heroes, because I have lots of heroes, and in the last sort of 15 years, I've probably climbed a lot more than I've surfed, and because of that, and because climbing went into the Olympics for the first time. I watched surfing and climbing in the Olympics, by the way, but I know I've sort of caught up with more of the heroes of rock climbing, so I can talk about my experience with learning from them. Apologise to all the wicked surfers out there that I don't know about yet, but I will get to know you and what you've been doing and what you've been up to. But Kelly just stands out, so it's just like super easy to learn from him. Pretty obvious choice there. But I'm going to talk about my rock climbing heroes, and you know, rock climbers will know them, but other people can research them. But I'll explain why they're my heroes and why I chose them to be my heroes. Because in rock climbing, there's different disciplines. There's like indoor climbing, which is pretty much the function of competition climbing. Like competition climbing is all indoors, pretty much. I mean, they sometimes set the comps outdoors, but and then there's your sort of outdoor climbing, which is like climbing cliffs outdoors, like and then you in those two categories you got like lead climbing or bouldering, and they're the two disciplines. Like it started with mountaineering, and so like people started wanting to get up mountains, and then they want to get up steeper mountains, and then so what they did is they started practicing climbing cliffs, and that became cliff climbing. And originally that was trad climbing, traditional climbing, with bits of, you know, it was real freaking archaic in the beginning, bits of rope and stuff and ladders. It was like aid climbing really. But then eventually it evolved into like trad climbing, where you'd place the equipment in the cliff and you'd remove it, like for the most part. But we relied on cracks when we were climbing like that. And then when I came along into climbing, there was a sort of like right in the transition between trad and sport, where in Australia, it's pretty unique to Australia, I think. We'd use what's called a carrot bolt. It's pretty much just hammer a bolt into a wall. And because they didn't have drills, they'd like hand tap them into the wall. It'd take a fucking long time. And so they didn't bolt climbs back in those days to make you feel safe. They made the climb so you wouldn't die. Often the bolts were very, very far apart, so the run-outs were big. And like in Australia, you'd have to put a bolt plate on the bolt, twist around, get your quick draw, chuck that on, clip the rope, and you're usually 5 to 10 meters run out. So that's consequences that, you know, which is a part of climbing. It was like dealing with your fear and all that sort of stuff. So now that I've kind of explained the categories a bit of climbing, I chose a hero of every category. And the way I chose my heroes in modern day, it's pretty cool. You just go on Wikipedia and look up the stats. And with climbers, like, we're pretty obsessed with our stats. Like, you know, how tall are we? What's our ape factor? What's our weight? What's our height? And for me, as a smaller person, I'm like 5'7", which is like 170 centimeters. Not super tall, not super small, but like pretty average. As a climber in the early days, like climbing in the Blue Mountains, is like all these big flat walls, and I felt like, and this was all in my head, but I felt like I was at a disadvantage, you know. And climbing was only just starting to get overhung, where, you know, my advantages as a smaller climber start to come in quite a bit on the overhung routes. And yeah, so, you know, that was just a thing in my head. And then I kind of, you know, went on my shamanic journey for a lot of years, didn't climb, didn't surf, just danced with fire. Like, that was my thing. And was mostly at trance parties and stuff like that. Like there was a revolution, most people missed it, in the 90s. Like, it was between like Byron Bay, Goa and India, Thailand, like full moon parties, travelers cycling around, 1,000 magicians rose from the land. We had a fuckload of fun. Like, hopefully, like, my dream is that everyone could have that much fun, and we create a world where we all like celebrate together, you know, and create joy and festivity everywhere. That's why I love the travelers, South Americans and stuff. They celebrate a lot, they party, they, you know, enjoy life. I really respect anybody who kind of makes an effort to do that, especially if it's in their culture. And yeah, so with the climbing, I basically chose heroes that had the same dimensions as me, and I could look it up. Someone who was the same height, and in each genre. So tomorrow, Japanese boy Tomoa Narasaki, he's like my height, my stats. So he shows me what is possible. When I watch him bouldering and sport climbing, he's a fucking wicked competition climber. He's like a magician bouncing from hold to hold. Is like awesome to watch, and he shows me what's possible. And then in the outdoor bouldering, there's Daniel Woods. His same stats as. I mean, I could be wrong. This is just what I've got off Wikipedia, so they could be my heroes for the wrong reason. But I kind of look at them and think, oh, well, he's like the same height, and he's like, shows me what a guy my height could do if he put all his fucking effort into it. And you can't just watch the way, boulders. It's like, so bouldering. To continue the story, bouldering came out of cliff climbing. So when I grew up, bouldering wasn't really a separate thing so much. It was what we did just to train to climb the cliffs. We didn't use bouldering mats. We didn't have grades. It was just like, that's hard, that's not so hard. And we'd fall on the ground like fuck. Like, we kind of got good at landing, but for the most part, it was just like a way to train for climbing, just the same way cliff climbing evolved out of mountaineering, a way to train for mountaineering. Bouldering evolved out as a way to train for sport climbing, or trad climbing, which eventually becomes sport climbing. Well, trad climbing still exists, but now when bolts got better and better, they became like U-bolts, way easier to clip into. They got drills, glue guns, bolts got so close that a thing that never existed in the past called Z-clipping became possible, where you could reach down and grab the rope from under the last pole and clip it. So then you've like Z-clipped your rope, so you're all fucked up and you can't keep climbing. You couldn't do that by mistake when you're 3 meters above the line. You'd have to climb down 3 meters, bring it up. It'd be like, you just wouldn't fuck up and Z-clip. It's not possible in the early days. But so as the evolution of climbing, then I would say the most recent evolution is like gym climbing. Like, it's a new thing. It's a completely separate thing. It's a different discipline. It's like where all the sport competitions are, is in indoor gym climbing on plastic or whatever they make the holds out of. And so that Tomoe is for that. And then Daniel Woods, he's like same stats as me as far as I know. I mean, these guys are way fucking stronger than I'll ever be, and way more focused, but they've got the same sort of body shape, type, height. And then for outdoor sport climbing, which is really kind of probably where my heart's at, you've got to take your hat off to Stefano Ghisolfi. Like, he's like my height. He's got the stats of me. And he's just freaking legendary. He's like, absolutely epic what that guy's doing. And his passion and focus is like next level, and he's like right there with Adam. Like, they're great friends. Like, and that, that's the thing, to get to those levels, you need friends like that. You need to be like, your best friends are going to be pushing you to your very limit. And Adam and Stefano Ghisolfi, they're like, I think they've done that, and they're completely different. Like, my friend, when I grew up climbing, he was like similar to Adam, like super tall, way better, bigger reach and stuff like that. And yet, Stefano is like right there with Adam. He's like working on silence, and he'll do it for sure. And he's got capacity to do 9C, like so many of those people do. Like, even Yanya, she'll do it for sure. Like, 9C is like, it's just about putting the time in, having the time to be there at the cliff. It's a lot of work to like do that, and you got to turn up like pretty prepared to send those grades. So that's how come I picked those 3 particular human beings as my heroes in rock climbing, because they both had similar stats. And I think, these days you can look at that within people, and it doesn't, and that's why I think Adam's impressive, like, as far as climbing, because like, if you were going to choose someone who has probably maybe the best climbing body stats, like naturally given, would be probably Alex Megos. Like, most people probably agree with that. And then like he's, but Adam, like, he's got like I don't think he's got a super positive 8 factor. I think it's like 1 or maybe -1 or neutral, but he just loves it so much and has done so much work. And same with Schubert, Schubert does have a pretty fucking awesome climb. He's pretty close to Megos with like the perfect climbing body stats, but I think he's, you know, a bit heavy. His legs are a bit heavy, but he's just a machine, that guy. Like, he just works and works and works and loves it so fucking much that he's just like, you know, he's just an absolute machine. And doing like all the work necessary to like hold that focus and keep your body that, you know, attuned. A lot of respect to those sorts of humans that can focus on what they love that much and then bring it to others too. You know, that's why I love Adam. He's always like sharing so much, so openly all the time. Like, he's just like a world, like, you know, he was doing it all the time when I was like really tuning in, like lots of videos talking about, you know, stuff. And I think everyone's getting onto that these days. Like, I know that other climbing dude, he's like super cool and inspirational too. What's his name? The YouTuber dude. Fuck, he's gonna hate me for forgetting it if he ever watches this. But you all know him. He's like the most famous one that from Norway, and like, he's a super cool dude, and he's like crossing it through all the genres, like taking and comparing like a scientist all the different like cool people of the world and all the superpowers and all the heroes. Like, they're all heroes, all the things, all the people, where he goes and all the people he interviews. Fuck, I still got a name block. He'll come back. I'm not super great with names. But hey, maybe that can be a mystery you can all figure out. You'll find out who he is. But he's a rock climber who does like super cool videos on climbing and then goes and talks to people all over the world and compares stats, and, you know, he's super interested in that. So yeah, heroes, they're really good to learn from, and you can pick and choose, and, you know, and you can have lots of heroes, like, you know, that those heroes for me are just ones that work with the stats that I have. But, you know, I also respect all other ones too. There's so many fucking wicked climbers, and I'm starting to just watch heaps of surfing videos and see all the cool surfers too. So I saw Jack Robinson. He's like, I respect all Aussies because it's fucking hard to be an Aussie. All the Aussie climbers too, all the Blue Mountains climbers, because, you know, in Australia there's no support to be a climber. It's like living in the dune box. So anyone like our local legend Australian climber, Simon Halloran, recently sent 35, which is like a huge victory. Like a massive victory in Australia, because it's like first time an Australian has actually ticked that level and that grade in Australia, and he's put up his own route too. I think it's 35 or 36 or something like that. But it's like super impressive because there's no support, there's no really fuck all financial backing, fuck all anything for Australian climbers. So anyone who's like in the boondocks, like working so hard, managing to keep a life going and climb that well is like super impressive too. I think anyone in Australia, like, you know, we're all blessed humans in every continent, on every planet, and it's good to appreciate that, especially, you know, wherever you are, love your home. I've been talking so much about heroes. Now I'm going to talk about the superhero stars. That's everyone. Everyone is a superhero of their own story. That's my perception of reality. We live in a galaxy of love, and we're all superhero stars of our own stories. And the journey is about learning about the superhero that you are and loving your own story, because you're the actor, the director, the audience. This is your life, and you are a superhero star. You gotta love your own story. And oh yeah, Magnus. Sorry, bros. That was like the YouTuber dude. And also I remember an Aussie rock climber that needs, you know, shout out for sure, like in that superhero world, is Oceana Mackenzie, Australian young female climber who's just like, you know, stepping right up and like showing us what's possible with Australian climbing, which is really cool. But yeah, superheroes are everywhere in everything. So just find your superheroes, but find it within yourself too. Like, don't go worshipping anyone. They're just there as teachers. But the greatest superhero is within you. That you are the ultimate superhero of your life, and you are, I said before, you are the actor of your life. You're acting in this movie that's your life. You're the director, you're directing it. You're the audience, you're the main one watching it. This is your life. This is your movie. It's groovy, and it's full of superhero stars. We are all stars in my sort of perception of reality. Like, we're all made up of stars, but I think it's like where our celestial center resides is in the heavenly realms, in the stars. Like, we're all stars of the galaxy. There's enough of them for we can have one each. Anyway, that's the hero's journey continued. It's just, that's why heroes exist, to inspire us to go on our own personal hero's journey, like to find our own, magic and become the hero that we are, and face all the trials and tribulations that go along with being on the hero's journey, facing the quests and obstacles, because it's like all magical quests. Like, I'm always one to say, focus on the magic, search for the magic, and life is magical, and yeah, it is, but like that doesn't mean it's always like rosy. It's like there's thorns too. It's like lots of obstacles, lots of uncomfortable things that you have to move through. But doesn't mean you're not on the magical quest anymore. You're still on the quest. It's just you're in the part where you're fighting the dragon, or you're in the part where you have to do the exercise, like in the Rocky movie where he goes into the snow. I love it. I call it Rocky training whenever I'm like whippersnippering or chopping wood or doing anything, like where you're just training your body, but just not in a traditional sense of using weights. You're just like exercising. Call that Rocky training. That's from the 80s thing too. And the Miyagi moment is another 80s thing. Karate Kid, like when everything just sort of comes together. Like when Daniel started whinging about like not being taught anything, and felt like he was just a slave painting the fence. And Ms. Miyagi goes, "Hey, paint the fence, sand the floor." And then all of a sudden Daniel realizes that he's been training the whole time. That's called the Miyagi moment. So when things come together, that's what I call it anyway, when all things come together and it all makes sense, like a perfect picture appears from all the pieces of the puzzle that you've been piecing together. You start to see the picture, and you see the story. So you are a superhero of your story, and look for all the pieces and put that picture together. And that, story is constantly evolving, and there's new pictures, new pieces. Each time you complete a picture, you find a whole nother picture, a bigger one or whatever puzzle to like piece together. You might have what I call shamanic deaths along the way, where your whole puzzle gets messed up. Like maybe your infant comes in and messes the puzzle up. You got to start again, or you just can't do that one. You have to do another puzzle, but you rebuild yourself in a different way, better, clearer, more organized, and that's the whole monk thing too. Like those dudes who make those sand paintings, those monks, and they're just the most intricate mandalas, perfect in the mountains. And then once it's finished, wipe it away. Next sand painting. Okay. Just before, just in case, because I don't think anyone's probably going to watch any of these videos, but if you do, let me just do some corrections and sort of help you to interpret me a bit better. I ain't perfect by far. I make mistakes. My memory's a bit foggy sometimes. Let me correct one of my mistakes that I think I made in one of the videos. I haven't watched it enough, but I think when I was talking about, say, the epic competition, the battle that went down between Chris Sharma and Adam Ondra, it was a special thing to watch, because it was he was like the legend Chris passing on the torch to the new legend coming along, and they were competing over La Jura Jura. And this is my perception. Chris might say I'm wrong, but in my perception, I reckon Chris could have sent that route before Adam. Chris did send the route, and I'm not sure I did say that in the video. So that's what I'm talking about, perception and you can scrutinize the fuck out of what I'm saying and say some things that are right or wrong. I'm not saying that anything I'm saying is right or wrong. I'm saying I make mistakes too, and that was one of them. if I didn't say that Chris climbed it, he actually did, but a month after Adam. And I think Chris, had it in him to climb it. It was in his local backyard. I think he just he's a surfer, he's a cruiser. He kicked back and he just let Adam have it, really, because it was more important to Adam at that time. And Adam was ready to step up and take the banner, the torch, like Chris said, being like at the tip of the spear of rock climbing at the time, which, in rock climbing, it's pretty kind of simple. It's whoever climbs the hardest grade that exists. That's why Wolfgang is the ultimate goat of rock climbing, because he notched it up like 4 times, and no one's going to ever be able to probably do that again, It's like, and he did it in an ancient time, like when rock climbing was archaic, and he just like really showed the way. He's like the tip of the spear of rock climbing, the tip of the needle. He's the initiate, and that's what I see initiates to be. Is like everything evolves in needle and thread, but there's got to be a first point, and that's the tip of the needle, and that's what like Wolfgang was for rock climbing. He was the first point person to climb. I can't remember the specific numbers, but it was like, I think it was like 30. I know in Australia it was 32. I think it was 30, 32, maybe. I think he skipped like 33 and did 34 and 35. But the first human in the history of the planet to climb at that level, it's fucking hard just to do one. And Adam Ondra, he kind of did 2. He's kind of done 2 levels as well. That's why he's like the best climber on the planet, because he did 9C, and in Australian terms we call that 39, and he put up the first 39, first 38. And the Chris Sharma, he sort of filled in the gaps in between, like him and others like did the first 36, 37. Jumbo Love, I think it was the first 37. Bibliography, and there was like debate about this other climb. First 36, and it doesn't really matter which was which. Like, what really matters is that these levels are being pushed, and like creating new grades, and like that's what's like becomes possible. It's not possible until someone does it, and these people are doing these things that were not possible before. Like, they're next levels, next grades. Like, climbing's pretty and that's why I like the Australian grading system the best, because it's so simple. We just count, like, we're pretty simple down here in the land down under. It's like, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Like, the higher you get, the harder it gets. And yeah, the hardest climb in the world as it stands now in Australian grading terms would be 39. First person to do that, Adam Ondra, and he also was the first person to do 37 with La Jura Jura, but I think Chris definitely could have done that if he wanted to, but he's just I don't know, I just sort of seen him as like a cruisy dude who's just sort of on the journey, he's like living life, having fun, like he's like didn't really feel the need to have to push that, and he saw Adam doing it, and then when Adam did do it, Chris just rode that wave of inspiration and surfed right on through and did it too. He didn't feel like he needed to do the hard work, That's still just my take on it anyway, because I watched that whole thing play out on the videos and stuff, and I was like, wow, this is so cool. And Chris, I got a lot of respect for him for stepping in there with Adam and like just giving him it all, like passing him the torch and working on the route with him, and just believing in him, because Adam was really struggling at that time. He was like super young, but it was pretty obvious to him and everybody that he was the next thing. Chris could see it. He was going to push the levels next, so he's like, come on, let's do it. And they inspired each other, motivated each other, and at the end of the day they both got it done, and that's all that really matters. It's like cooperation. Like, to me, that's just magic and beautiful and special, and I think the more we can do that with each other, it's just gonna make the world better. And yeah, so cooperation and forgiveness for mistakes. Like, I hope I may make historical errors, date errors, I might blunder my way through some of my facts, but I'm not about facts. I'm about, I hope you kind of see that I'm trying to tell stories about like what I've seen, and weave together things that are relative in the world of history and time and space and in the matrix, and and their civilizations and stuff. But it's, we learn so much from our mistakes, and they're super important. And yeah, so that's that about that. I'm feeling fine. It's time to pay the fine, to pay your due, to see through, to break into you. And I'm feeling fine, and the sun is shining. What you give will be given to you, what you take will be taken from you. Love is the only way, so pay the fine or feel fine. Either way, everything's fine. So let's all shine divine in this magic time, in this sacred dance. Let's find our sacred way to play children in grace. One more hour for magic, and we have it in our hands. It's time to stand together and love this sacred land. Choices, choices, choices. We are always choosing the way we cruise, choosing if we bruise, choosing if we live, choosing if we die, choosing if we fly, choosing to ask the questions why, to wonder and dream, and to scream out loud, to feel proud, and to look inside. We're always choosing in every moment, whether we choose to cruise or choose to love or choose to ignore love. That's all our choices, that we can always make in every moment. And, if we make the wrong choice, we can choose again, and again. And we end up eventually choosing the right choice. We inevitably choose the wrong things until we learn the right things. Sometimes it's the left path that gets us to the right way, or the right path that gets us to the left way, but both ways are the way. There's no escaping the ultimate fact that we choose in every moment, whether to love or ignore love. It's totally optional. But, it depends where you want to be in your personal human race, because ain't that what we're calling it, the human race, or racing. So what are we racing for? Well, we're racing for our souls. This would be my short answer to that question. Racing to our soul's ultimate awakening and becoming aware of who and what we are in space and time, and recognizing the truth of the divine that shines the light through all eternity, through the night, through the day. It's the inner divine play. It's the sacred way. It's the magic story. And here we are to experience the unfolding of the glory. Alright, I'm hoping to wrap the channel up and get all the content out that I wanted to, like information-wise. So wrapping it up, this whole series, which has pretty much been ongoing since last night and all day today. And the reason I'm wrapping it up and wanting to do it, just big download, put it all out there, is because I'm fundamentally really lazy, like a lion. Just want to chill. Lions just chill a lot, and when they get up, they do their thing. But they fundamentally lazy, so that's me. Pretty fundamentally lazy. It's good to learn from animal totems. Like, we all have different totems, different animal spirits who can teach us about ourselves. And like, obviously we've all got a bunch. I identify with Raven, being a Raven, my name being Raven and all, and lions and eagles and dolphins and whales and all the medicine that's out there. There's so many medicine totem animals that you can learn from as well. So I'm just sort of downloading it all, putting it out there, and then hopefully there'll be enough content for people to take their time and sift through and find out what's interesting. And I'm just sort of confirming it's all just my perception, literally, just from my experiences. I'm just talking from my experiences. I'm not talking about anything I've read, anything except for the obvious historical things that I've learned about, and I'm trying to inject a bit of historical reality, and also the humans that I've talked about. It's just my perception of them. It's not who they are or what they are. I could be completely wrong about these particular humans and what they're all about, but I'm just sort of giving my sort of take or example or perception of people in the world and how I see it. And it's, you know, it's just the way I view it, and everyone has their unique view, and we all get to choose how that view is constructed. So yeah, I'm just sharing my construct, how I view it, like from the perspective of having a shamanic life path and having looked at these things from a different level of reality, where I'm able to view it objectively and from outside of it rather than being in it. And yeah, that's what this whole series is about, just describing my shamanic experiences. And you know, in my experience, like the more you, like, knowledge is the first thing you kind of gain, but knowledge doesn't mean shit really. Knowledge becomes more worthy when you experience the knowledge, then it kind of becomes wisdom, and then you kind of know what you're talking about. Otherwise, you just got your head full of a whole bunch of facts and figures that you might be probably just recycling from someone else. Wisdom comes from the experience of knowledge. So get out there, learn stuff, experience stuff, test it out yourself. That's how I test everything, is just on me, not on other people, on my own soul. That's how I know whether I know shit or not. And that's how it's, you know, it becomes unmistakable, unforgettable, and easy to remember. You don't have to remember. I hope you can tell. None of this is scripted. This is all straight off the top of my fucking crazy brain. And because I'm just talking about my experiences, it's easy to like summarize and be poetic and philosophical and share beliefs when you've like they're yours. Like, it's my perspective. Like, so it's, you know, it's not anyone else's. No one else has been through what I've been through, as far as I can tell. That's why I seem to be one of the craziest people around. But shamans, it's, you know, we've all, that's our fucking rap, man. We've always been crazy fuckers. Like, you gotta be pretty crazy to do the shit I've see the things I've seen, witness the things I've witnessed, pass through the realms I've passed through. It's certainly not for the faint-hearted. Like, that's what oh fuck, cool Aussie rock climber. When I was like learning how to bolt climbs, I'm like this nobody fucking dude, and I just start writing to Lee Coogers, and I'm like, hey dude, like, I'm bolt climbers, teach me how to do it. And so he just like kept answering all my questions, and I was like, so like, I felt so blessed that he would like respond to me and taught me online how to kind of over you know. And one of the comments he said, dude, bolting cliffs is not for the faint-hearted. And I was like, oh fuck. And when I got out there, yep, Lee, you're right. It's not. Especially if you're out there by yourself in the forest, like abbing down like 60 meters with drill and freaking all this shit on your shoulders, and there's no one else out there. And well, I think it was about 80 meters, and I was kind of like bolting, like really easy climbs, multi-pitches, but learning along the way, messaging Lee to find out how to do it all. Yeah, back then my name was Za. I used to be called Za, Utopia. That was my professional fire dancing career name. Like, when I was a fire dancer, I was like Za, which is like when you reach the end of your cycle, you get back to the beginning. Like, the Z is the end and the A is the beginning. Because I melted my face off once fire breathing. That's how I came up with that. I kind of realized that, you know, I was born as Sam, and then I kind of grew into this rainbow crazy dude, fire dancing guy. And that was my mask, you know. I melted off one time fire breathing, saw through the layers, and I was like, I was like inside Sam, the inner child, going, who the fuck's this rainbow dude who just took over my life? And I went, oh shit, okay, I got to integrate him because he's my mask, but I need to like integrate the inner child, which was Sam. And it was like reaching the beginning, which was Sam, from getting to the end, which was rainbow. So Za came about, ZA. And then Utopia was, well, I looked at people's surnames. I'm like, well, what's your surname about? Like, it's meant to sort of, traditionally, ancestrally, it represented what you did, you know, like your job. So, and I was like, well, my job's like focusing on Utopia and like trying to like see visions of that. So that's what I called myself. And through all the dancing and stuff, I was like embodying that consciousness. That's what I was like talking about. You know, I kind of created my own archetype because I like dreamed it up and then just went, all right, I'll just be this fire dancing dude. And anyone can do that in any sort of art form if they want to. And then, yeah, I kind of went to the end of that journey and became a raven, like, because of that journey, moving through so many worlds. And Raven Astru is my full name, and Ast is like from Icelandic, because it's the closest language to the Old Norse language, and Ast means love and true means faith. I mean, I could be wrong about that too as well. I just researched, and I actually just made it up because ast and true together wouldn't actually be a proper word in Icelandic. But ast is a word for love, and true is sort of faith or truth. So ast true means love, faith, you know. So yeah, that's where my surname comes from, my current one. And I've had many masks, many names, but I'm an entertainer. We're allowed to do that. We get to change our mask and, you know, take another face from the ancient gallery and walk on down the hall, kind of thing, like Jim told us. You can choose your archetypes, put them on, take them off. Like, in essence, you're the same being you always were. The mask just changes. You know, the outside changes, but the inner being's the same. So, there we have it. Yeah, some more conversations about our journey and the archetypal journey, and most particularly my journey, and it's just like my perception. That's all I'm kind of sharing, is like my sort of view on from where I've been looking at reality from. And yeah, and I think ultimately the only view that is really relative is your own. So I'm sharing my view not so that you can like have that view too, because I don't think anyone ever will, but I think, you know, you can maybe, you know, create your own view based on the best things that you see in the world in all different places, like in things that inspire you, in music, art, culture, religion, science, maths, whatever inspires you. Like, you know, learn from that, take what's valuable and use it to create your view, because that's kind of what you're doing anyway. So if you do that responsibly and consciously, you know, it becomes a bit more organized. Like, just look around your freaking house or your reality, all the symbols you put around yourself, the things you put on your wall, the things you focus on, they're the things you're manifesting. The thoughts you hold on to every day, the emotions that you hold on to every day, they're the things that you're giving energy to. So just be aware of what that is, what you're giving energy to. Are you giving energy to positive thoughts and feelings you want to manifest, or are you just, you know, tuning into the lower vibrational things that you're just going to have to move through and release and learn from, and then ultimately get into that clear, positive, centered space, you know, making the choices that serve your greatest good and the greatest good of all beings. What I try to do when I'm searching for inspiration is, like, you know, listen to song lyrics and different things that people are expressing. And for me, like, inspiration is like super important. It's like my inner spirit. It's my inner spiritual guide. If I feel like I have a direction, you know, to go, energy to go there. So, you know, but it's really, yeah, inspiration is like for me, my inner source energy that guides my sort of ultimately intuitive decisions. But the inspiration is like what gives you the energy. And imagination is kind of like the world, like Einstein talked about. Like, it's like, you know, the world where all these great thoughts and possibilities come into play, you know. And I'll keep this one brief, but another thing I want to say on this is that you know, it's good to keep your head in the clouds, but also it's really important to keep your feet on the ground too, you know, like, especially if you're walking through the bush in Australia. As you all know, I've got lots of snakes and spiders and things that'll kill you. So, you know, keep your eyes open and when you're walking around, and your feet on the ground, you know. Head in the clouds good because it opens your mind up to what's possible. Keep your imagination open. Follow your inspiration. Learn from your intuition. There's all the eyes. The inner eyes. All right. This is hopefully the last video, because I just counted up. I've done 32, so this will make it 33. So I'm going to make this video kind of about numerology and sacred geometry and searching for magic and wisdom and symbols and all the things, you know, 33, 369, sacred numbers like Tesla talked about. All this stuff's relative. It all helps, you know, all the symbology and the magic and understanding, like, the sacredness of symbols and what everything's, you know, here to teach us and show us and guide us and just, you know, it's all sacred, ancient things, like even the cross and all that, like that's an old symbol from even before Jesus's time, but you know, it was like associated with him because it's all to do with the sun and him being like the sun and the center, and like, you know, like it's you know, it's like a shining light, a beacon in the middle of the sort of cosmic story, like a, you know, another hero, like sort of, you know, he was what he said he was, like a king, like king of kings type dude. Like he channeled God as well, divine force. That's why he appears as like a god, and apparitions and forces and stuff. And he taught us a lot. You know, the best valuable things I get from his message is love, compassion, forgiveness. You know, and it's, you know, and that's why I love Buddhism too. Like, it's got this inner story. Meditation is very, very useful in looking within. And Jesus sort of teaches us how to be in the world. Like, and obviously we picked it up because the whole kind of Western world's pretty much based around the three big one religions, which is all kind of the same story about God, just different interpretation from the Judaism, the old story to the Christian story to the Muslim story. They're all, you know, talking about the same one sort of God force thing, describing it in different ways, but fundamentally, you know, expressing that universal oneness and that golden light, love, sun energy. So yeah, this is why I thought I'd finish with like symbology, sacred mathematics, sacred science. Science is like, you know, mathematics found the thumbprint of God not too long ago, the Mandelbrot thing, like infinite formula that just goes on and on. Science is just getting deeper and deeper into the mystery and understanding the great nothing and the waves, and, you know, that everything's just waves and space and energy, you know, changing form. And it's a really magical, divine, sacred time to be alive. So that's, you know, what I would be focusing on is like learning about the magic, seeking the magic, the sacred nature of existence, exploring it and discovering, you know, the infinite wonders that exist in this sacred, magical, divine world, you know, that we're in, we're creating, we're supporting, we're nurturing, we're loving, we're learning, we're growing. We're showing ourselves and each other the way. And yeah, we're just joining in this time, for our collective journey, for our collective story. And within the collective stories, our individual stories, and they're all like magical. Like I said in other videos, we're superhero stars, like every single one of us, like all divine light shining in the galaxy of love, in the infinite eternal universe that we find ourselves in. And it's a blessing, and bless all life with love. Father, you are free. Eternal Spirit is within me. Isis Mother, you are so divine. You emanate, you shine. Horus child is running wild, so wild and free eternally. Dancing with mother, with father, with brother, with sister, family, familiarity. Tribally, we are a family. flowing like the oceans and the sky. Tell me reasons why, seeing through the skies, we can be so wise, changing like the tides. Super conscious son, you're always having fun. We'll be on the run, we'll be running with the moon. Sing a different tune, we'll be dancing on the earth, recovering, uncovering, discovering her worth. Leaving behind the imitation mind, we are so divine, emanating shine, open to the light. Sing your dance tonight, soul eternally, eternally free. Cyrus father, you are free. Isis mother, you are so divine. Horus child, running wild, wild and free, free eternally. Dancing with mother, with father, with brother, with sister, family. Familiarity, and that's you, and that's me, and that's everybody, everybody.